Good evening, everybody. Merry Christmas. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. You all watched it. I watched it. Hopefully, you got your fill of time with the family. It's time to talk about the Detroit Lions. I got enough of my family. Definitely all day yesterday, all day today. Now it's time to talk turkey, talk business. We all watched a game in which the Detroit Lions needed to win, a game in which you went up against an undrafted quarterback from Minnesota. And what did you do? You laid an egg. Offensively, it was a disaster. It started with the illness that floated all the way through Allen Park. Taylor Decker today ends up showing up on the injury report, downgraded to questionable. I was like, this is not good. Then around 3 o'clock, you find out 3:05, he's inactive. That's not good. Dan Skipper is tasked with being the left tackle. And you go out there in a game you must win. Now, granted, you can't be that mad that the Lions are not in the playoffs because you had a 6% chance. What you should be mad at is that's not grit. That's not effort. That's not executing. That's not ending a season in which you want to go out strong. Now, this is what happens when you have Thanksgiving football. The league boned you by putting you in that spot. There's no practice. It's just go out there and do what you need to do. So because you played on Christmas, the worst timing for this football team not to have practice. This team is a team that needs as much practice, as much NFL practice as possible. It's not talented. It's not talented enough to overcome just walkthroughs. And this game was atrocious. Offensively, the entire Vikings offensive staff should be embarrassed that they went with the decision to move on from Sam Darnold in a year where they could have won games with him. You had a rookie in J.J. McCarthy. That's a disaster. You went with Brosmer or whatever his name is, and that guy couldn't throw a forward pass. And, Brosmer had his family there. Fine. You needed to win this game, and it was turnover central. 2 turnovers, 2 fumbles. Oh, my God. It was atrocious. Oh, my God. Jared Goff, we're going to talk about it. I have nowhere to be. We could go 2, 3, 4 hours. Let's react to the fact that the Detroit Lions are eliminated. They're not going to be in the postseason. They are not going to be participating in the playoffs. And it should result in a referendum. Dan Campbell said big decisions are made. You have to watch in that game the football gods say, your favorite player is Penei Sewell? He'll go down for a couple plays. You guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown? Let's hit him with a play in which he goes down. Yeah, thank you, football gods. Thank you for that. Thank you for that hard watch. What was your reaction watching that game? It was frustrating. It was annoying. And it was a tough grind. And you're sitting there typing. You got family, kids running all around. And you're trying to figure out what the heck just happened there. Let's react. I'm curious what you guys thought. The 2025 season flames out. And when I think people read the post I put at Detroit Podcast, it's just naturally, what do you think I'm going to say when Jordan Addison gets an end around for 65 yards? That I'm happy with the defensive coordinator? Most of you are like, why would you say to fire the defensive coordinator? That was your takeaway from the game? No, that wasn't my takeaway from the game. Watch the podcast. I'll tell you my whole takeaway. The offensive staff needs to be sorry. There's a fall guy. Mark Brunell, I'm sorry. Thank you for your service in Detroit. See you. Tashard Choice, thank you for your service in Detroit. See you later. Not good enough. Running game's atrocious. And Hank Fraley, you got to sit in front of Dan Campbell and say, what the heck happened? These guys didn't look like next man up mentality. Sometimes the voice needs to change. Dan Campbell said decisions need to be made. One of them's got to be about Jared Goff. Look, and people are like, you're all upset with Calvin Shepard. How was he supposed to defend what happened there? 5-6 turnovers. Listen, they needed one stop. And Kevin O'Connell figured out the one play to blow past the defense. Of all the time to dial up the perfect play. Are you kidding me? It's not good enough. And you tell me everyone just wants to, and listen, I'm reacting right now, hour and a half after the game. Everybody just has this magic wand that they can wave and they'll fix the offensive line and Brad Holmes will draft everything. I'm not in a slappy shit mood today. I'm in a This is the feeling you get when the season ends abruptly when you had a chance. You didn't even force the Packers to win a game. You just laid down. You didn't even force the Packers to try and do anything. You didn't even get to the point where I thought they're supposed to win out. 3-game losing streak. All the slappies, everyone, they just go right back to their mode. Oh, Jared Goff just needs a perfect offensive line. It's not that easy to do. You might have Tate Ratledge move to center. You think that's just going to be perfect? It's not ever going to be perfect. That's why, Jared Goff, the fans doubt you. That was an ugly watch, and the season ends. What was your reaction watching that? Were you guys drinking like I told you in the last episode? Roll call. Where are you listening from? Thank you for the early 200 people listening in here. Merry Christmas. Shout out to Damon Dice, T, Kevin Jaffrey, John Renfro, Why I Hack a Lot, Lone Wolf, Full Slate Farms. Let's go. We got time. We got time. Nothing but time to talk about this disaster. Eloy Trevino, Demetrius McNeil. I know my guy Steve O'Baby's in here. Let's start with you. What up, man? I watched that game and I was like, okay, this is just how all the bad teams. I've watched that game 1,000 times. So that's why I put on X at Detroit Podcast. I've already gone through the stages of grief within like an hour. I've watched that game 1,000 times. You think I'm not familiar with bad Detroit Lions football? That was textbook. Turnovers, Jared Goff getting balls batted down, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbling. The refs decided to bone you on the early Kingsley Egwakun false start that wasn't a false start. Dude, I've seen that 1,000 times. What more is there to get mad at? Now I'm just going to turn my attention to the slappies and just tell me it's going to be automatically fixed. No, I want changes. I want a lot of changes. I'm glad. I hope they take a serious look that you missed the playoffs. You lost to a team that couldn't throw a forward pass with a guy in Brosmer that couldn't throw the football. Now, where's all of you? I want to win the game. I want to win the game beforehand. I'm like, you know what? We do get a 4th place schedule. You might get the 14, 15 pick. That might help Brad Holmes. 6 turnovers in a must-win game on Christmas. Well, I don't think the Lions are going to be on Christmas next year. And my God, we got to start with, sorry, Noah Eagle, but whoever designed your set and made you look like an AI announcer, you got to fire your hair and makeup person, dude. The whole world's laughing at you like, what hairstyle was that? You look like an AI-generated announcer. Everyone's like, what is that? I was like, is that a real dude? Netflix is hilarious to try and cover the NFL. But in the end, I was just mesmerized at all the bad football that was being played. Punt, punt, fumble, 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 punt. 3-yard gain, fumble, fumble, punt. Oh, Jared Goff goes down again. Gonna get hit, gonna go down. You got to make it perfect for Jared Goff. You know how difficult that is? It doesn't work like that. In the NFL, you don't just wave your magic wand, write a magic column, and be a slappy, and then the Lions just fix themselves. Yeah, the Lions can be a playoff team. But do you think this is a trajectory to get to the Super Bowl? To play like that? You still had all your offensive weapons. You got to repair that offensive line. And now, because Dan Campbell said in 2023, this could be the only time we get it. Now, every time there's a big loss, someone's posting that video. Today it was Ryan Armani that it came across my timeline, the fine broadcaster. But he told me, I got a feeling in my gut. I got a feeling, guys, to the world. They're going to win all the games to go to the Super Bowl. You know what my message was to him 2 days ago? 3 days ago before the Steelers game? I said, bro, it's indigestion. Move on from that feeling. He laughed. It's indigestion. I still got a feeling. I got a feeling. You got radio hosts that have never seen this before. I said, friendly radio host who I like very much and respect. Now you know why when you ask me, am I a doubter or am I a believer? And you're like, you all got to be believers. You all got to stand firm. I don't think so. I don't think so, man. We tell you bad football's coming because we know it. No, we'll tell you. We'll tell you, pay attention. Don't come on the airwaves and tell us that the Lions are just going to overcome all the odds. Weird shit happens to the Lions. That's just the way the organization goes. First to last, just like that. That's what happens. Remember? Oh, they did a feature. The Lions planned this out. They sat in their boardroom and they said, we know Aaron Glenn's going to leave. We know that Ben Johnson's going to be. We're going to have a plan in place. We're going to hire from within. Someone that's never called a defense before. Yeah, he had experience, but he never was in the role of defensive coordinator. And then John Morton, who did it for 1 year. They put their heads together and came up with that plan. Now, there were doubts from the outside world, not as much on, from the Lions media, but there was a lot of doubts outside that was like, wait a minute, changing an offensive line, 2 new coordinators, it doesn't work like that. CD Kip, Doc, shout out to you. What's your guys' reaction to this disaster of a season? We're going to get to you guys in just a moment. Going through the signs of grief here all through the thing. At Detroit Podcast, you can see the game tweets. Man, it's almost takes your voice away with what's going on. Man, I just can't say that. Mag Life 269. There should be frustrations with Jared Goff. He didn't rise to the occasion, but that offensive line's terrible. We will talk about Jared Goff. You got to build him perfect. That's just hard to do. It's just easy. It's just really hard. It's just easier to go maybe with somebody else. It's just hard. He doesn't suck. He can play ball, but he can't play ball with that offensive line. You have no chance. You had no chance. I had diarrhea in my pool of vomit, Mike D. That's how bad it was. John Renfro. Holmes and Campbell should be fired immediately. No, but I think the one thing that I do think that can make this football team elite is they got the full wake-up call that their style, level 1, like Dan Orlovsky said, wasn't going to work to get you to a Super Bowl. It got you to the playoffs. Now you have to adapt. They have to adapt. Hell yeah, you're not good. We're not good. Steve O, baby. John, I hope the Lions fans learned their lesson, and I hope Stick learned his lesson too. Yeah. Listen, they're just going to say, oh, it's easy to be negative. It's easy to predict. No, there were signs. We told you there were signs. The offensive line's not playing good. You played the Eagles on the road in a must-win game, and you didn't play well. There were signs. There were clear signs, Steve O, baby. And I'm glad there's a voice that will say, wait a minute, I'm concerned. Listen, now maybe I shouldn't have been concerned 60 minutes into the season, but there was a concern. And listen, I respect the Slappy's undying motivation. I get it. But those kind of people will be the kind of people that need social media breaks. Oh, I needed to take, you know who those people are. They post it publicly for you. I need time away. I can't handle it. I can't handle all the narratives that are being talked about. Why? The football team stinks. It's an average football team, 8-8. What's to hide from? People talked about it. It wasn't not out in the open. The Lions offensive line struggled. There were questions about Goff. There were questions now about Dan Campbell being predictable. David Montgomery's not happy. We're talking about things other than football, which are a huge distraction because the players have just decided that, well, winning might not be the thing. Let's just start doing our own thing on social media. A player on the Lions said, amen, SMD. And the fans are like, no big deal. So the Slappies, you just judge how they act. And you decide what you would prefer to listen to. Somebody that says, wait a minute, I have some concerns. I kind of think after the Eagles game, when that's a competitor, that was a marquee game. That was the one that everybody said, that's going to be tough. Taylor Decker was hurt all year. So that's how it goes. You decide. Listen, it's fun. It's fun to just, be on the side of eternal positivity. I get it. It would be much easier for me in my life to do that. Trust me. You get a lot more engagement that way. I do think you get more engagement from being positive, in my opinion. But it's a lie. It's fugazi. It's built on hope. But Doc, here's funny. But Doc, and here's the best part. They don't even know how stupid they sound. But Doc, they're the top 5 scoring offense in the league. How did that work for you against the Vikings when you needed to win? But Doc, they're the top 5 scoring offense. What's going on? If you score 50 against bums and you score 14 against good teams, and you shut out bum teams but give up 50 against good teams, what does that tell you? Guys, half the people don't even understand the numbers they're reading. They don't even understand the stats that they're reading. But they're the ranked 5th. The DVOA says they're the 4th best defense in the league. How did that work for you? At 65 yards when Jordan Addison was running to the end zone for a touchdown. How did that 3rd-ranked DVOA work from you? Just ask the person writing the on-paper predictions what his record is this year with it. They openly said in their article, I'm just going to make up my own pathway to these numbers. Read what they write at the very end. Read the last on-paper preview, this one that was written. It was hilarious. I laughed. He's like, I don't know how I'm coming to this conclusion. I feel like I'm doing this and doing that. They were halfway wrong. I feel like the record for that dude was 4-12. What does that tell you about the numbers? What does that tell you? They're worthwhile to look at. But they don't paint a picture. They paint a picture of an 8-8 team that doesn't make the plays when needed. If you score 50 against a bum and the Giants, and you play the Packers, and they're 1st or 2nd in the division, the numbers will average out to be the numbers. Score 50 and 0, you average 25 points. But wait a minute, the last game I just watched, they scored 0. We're not going to talk about that. They ignore that part, and then they just jump to the numbers. Even today after the loss. Guys, we're talking about a game in which Jared Goff fumbled the football. He couldn't keep his hands on the football. But support Jared Goff. You do that. Court Major, this dude is a real one. Of course it's real because it's what you see. I'm not trying to hide anything from people. I'm just talking about the initial reaction to a game in which you lost that you should have curb stomped. The Lions, as constructed with that offensive line, as busted as it is, should have beat that Vikings team 33-0. Are you kidding me? Even on 3 days rest. Are you kidding me? That Vikings team is terrible. But again, you just weigh and decide. The Slappies have to run and hide because they can't handle real football talk. They can only handle when they flash stupid ass numbers that want to lie to people. Then they're happy. But when you tell them, hey, wait a minute, I think I'm concerned that the Lions offense is a little predictable. The offensive coordinator has not developed a run game. And against good teams, Jahmyr Gibbs disappears. This looks exact. And guys, history repeats itself. John Morton can't scheme up a run game. He just can't. He did it with the Jets, and it happened here in Detroit. History repeated itself, and I shared it with you. When John Morton was hired, I said, hey, pay attention to the run game. But, oh, my God, Jahmyr Gibbs ran for 400 yards against the Commanders. Come on, dudes. Brandon Hunt, $4.99 super chat. Brad Holmes, in the beginning of the year, making media feel dumb for asking good questions, and Dan cold shouldering yours. Keep pushing them, Doc. Listen. On that front, I get it. They have a job to do. But you guys are smart fans. You realized it. Dan Campbell went into cliche mode. Oh, we have to correct the problem. But after you say it, the 6th week, he fell on the sword this last week. They said, we don't see the identity. He said, it falls on me. Of course, it was, my direct nature comes from there is no time to waste. Every game is important. So after that first game, that was alarming. Who raised the alarm right away? That would be me. But remember, the others did too. They talked about, hey, the run game has made too many mistakes. The defense has struggled. What's going on? Calvin Shepard was directly asked, why did your run game take a step back against the Rams? And he said, if you take away all the good plays, we had a good defense. That was asked from the media. The media does a decent job, but they also have a job to do to kind of layer it a little bit to keep the subject as happy as possible. But you're absolutely right. They will have to answer. Brad Holmes has to come step forward now and answer to the media. Your belief in draft and develop doesn't work to win a Super Bowl. It's a fact. The Slappies have to hide. I don't know why they hide. They should just come out and just keep doing their bit. Just keep doing their bit. Always next year. Well, we got 2026. We got fourth place schedule. We got the 15th pick in the draft. Brad Holmes, every pick he's going to make is going to be perfect. And our two comp picks. Listen, here's the first Christmas wish I want to make for all of you. Someone hire Ray Agnew. Please. Lions should benefit from that. Brandon, thank you for the super chat. That's kind. Guys, like the stream. That's the free way. That's the gift you can give me. We'll talk together. We'll react together. Get your thoughts in. What's your reaction? Get your thoughts in. Joe Besco, hopium. It's addictive, Doc. It is. It is when you have big entities that just peddle that nonsense. But it's just, I'm older. I get it. I have a decade more on them of seeing this. They just want to believe. And maybe even I jump off too soon. You never know. But come on. The signs were there. The offensive line was not built in the way that would help. Remember, they were like, why are we some of the media were like, why are we talking about John Morton so quickly? Because the signs were there. The offense wasn't that good. John Morton, man, he does not know how to design a run scheme that's exotic and doesn't know how to put together a situation to help Dan Campbell. And look, Dan Campbell had to fall on the sword. Because he attended to the play calling, the rest of the team fell out. That's what happened. TM, Merry Christmas. I'm so embarrassed by this loss, and I gave Lions merchandise gifts for Christmas too. Oh, Merry Christmas to you. I know it was a tough loss. Oh my God, it is unbelievable the Lions lost to that offense. They could not throw a forward pass. Justin Jefferson, I feel so bad for him. My man was wearing so much diamonds. I think he was going to buy 4 more. He was going to wear 4 more diamonds, a diamond necklace to just have any sort of relevancy. Nothing. Brosmer. 4 catches, 30 yards. Justin Jefferson. My God, I'm sorry if you guys had him in fantasy. Kevin Jeffrey, I threw my Lions gift into the trash. User NU3Z I3UM6G. Johnson was a Matt Patricia hired. DC stumbled into this, but they had a relationship back with Miami too. Ben Johnson was given the reins by Dan Campbell. You have to credit Dan. He also worked with them, and guess what? If you want to watch the Lions, they're unfortunately 500 miles away in Chicago. That's what the Lions used to look like. If you want to watch the Lions and get nostalgia, watch the Bears. That's what a good offensive line, 2 good running backs, a quarterback that can evade some pressure. Mike D, good point. It's tough. It's a tough time. You got to go through it. You got to have some anger, acceptance, sadness, and then let's move on to how this Detroit Lions team is going to get fixed. What is your reaction? I'm very curious. A lot of people are upset, frustrated, as you should be. Remember, the Slappies, when they do that and it's eternal. Remember, the one guy, people will write and print. Now, tweeting it, I get it. You want to be positive, I get it. You want to be a fan, I get it. You want to write and print. The Lions are just going to win 3 games in a row and everything's great. Oh, why do the Lions need this? They don't need free agents. They don't need that. That's why you guys are more mad, because the Slappies put in print give you more hope than what's deserved. Gromit, the Lions are all smoke and mirrors. Clearly missed Ben Johnson and Eric Glenn. Yeah, no doubt about it. Listen, I was victim of it too. I own accountability. I pushed back just to push back on the national media because I discounted the role of coaches compared to talent. I thought the Lions' talent would overcome, especially when you got Goff, Gibbs, St. Brown, J-Mo. I thought the offense, but guess what, guys? Injuries took a toll. You didn't have Taylor Decker today, and there's no way he retires. There's no way his last game that's meaningful is going to be I'm sick and I'm not playing. No way, no how. Brandon Hunt, $1.99. Doc, I want proven coordinators, McDaniel and Schwartz. I would never, ever disagree with that. That would put you in a good spot. Oh, that would put you in an opportune situation, man. You hope. Yeah, I'm not attached to any of the coaches. I'd move on from all the coaches. Deshae Townsend, sorry, you got to go. You also went with the first-year linebacker coach. Move on from him. You need established, proven coaches. This next year, you think it's going to get, everyone thinks, yeah, they're just going to retool. It's going to be easier. It's going to be harder. It's going to be harder. The Bears are going to get, they're going to play a first place schedule. The Packers are going to be there. The Vikings, if they just figure out the quarterback, they seem to have their talent together. What level of changes do you guys want? I'm curious. Thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, proven coaches are absolutely key. I think Mark Brunell has to go. It's just time. Get somebody better to challenge Jared Goff. Brunell, got to go. Hank Fraley, he's got to answer for this year. C-M-U-R Kedja. C-Merk Kedja. Doc, anything to be said about the fact Dan doesn't take care of the players, all the injuries, and he runs live practice like we have rookies all over? They have to figure it out. It's not just bad luck. It's not just football. It's too many impactful players. It's not. It's not. Maybe it's JST's. It is something that has everything. Nothing is on the table to me that says we're good. Nothing. And remind, when the Slappies do it, you guys got to come back and challenge them because they can go strong. You got to challenge them and say, wait, what about this? What about that? How are they going to handle this? Question. Even question me. You guys did great today. You said, hey, how are you going to blame Calvin Shepard? I said, here's why I blame him. The team only needed one defensive stop, and they didn't get it. It wasn't like they just chipped away the Vikings. They ran an explosive play for 65 yards for a touchdown. What, do you think I was going to be happy to see that play? It's not. I don't think that Calvin Shepard will eventually be a coach, but a year two defensive coordinator is not going to top Vic Fangio. Ever. He needs experience. They got to fix the health of this team. And that's one big factor, injury luck. It hasn't been on the Lions side for 2 years. Oh, my God. It's atrocious. Reversion to the mean, $5.99 super chat. Apparently, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn were head coach whisperers. They were soul snatchers. They snatch your grit. They snatch your soul. They snatch your secrets. That's the disappointing part. And here's the best line. Here's the best line that the media is going to use to kiss ass. Guys, progression is not linear. Progression is not linear. Well, it seems like the regression is linear. NFC Championship, 15 wins, first round, not in the playoffs. I haven't seen improvement. I've seen regression linearly. 8 wins, might be 9. Damn. Michigan Sports Hub. I don't even know what that means. Fill me in. It's probably a bad thing, but who knows? It could be a good thing. This dude is maybe damn fool. Yeah, everyone knows it. This dude is a damn fool. Why? If I'm accurate, because I'm opening your eyes to the fact that there were issues and the Slappies lied to you. They didn't lie to you. They just get blind. They get blinded by the light of positivity. And like I said, my vision is clear. Week to week, we talk about, what stuff we like, stuff we don't, but my anger and focus comes in. Do I feel the Lions are on the path to win a Super Bowl? I'm very happy. The height for me this year of positivity was when Dan Campbell took over and they scored a lot of points and played well against Washington. I said, okay, this could be good. And then it fell apart. My man, Merry Christmas. You know who this is. The man that needs no introductions, Mr. Adam Baydoun. Lions this season averaged 18.7 points per game against top 11 scoring defenses. 0-7 in those 11 games against Green Bay, Minnesota, LA Rams, Philly, and KC. Look at those numbers. Is that good enough for you? Is that we're good material for you guys? Adam, you know, you can look at numbers and say, well, they did this and that, and the offensive line. You can make a lot of excuses, but it's true. Your eyes, you don't need to see the numbers to know. Against better opponents, you lost the battle of the trenches. And the number that you will pull up that's going to scare the crap out of you is the rushing yards against good opponents. Less than 50 yards. That's what happens when you lose the engine. Frank Ragnow's departure was a disaster for this team. It took the heart and soul away from the offensive line, and your replacement was they wanted it to be Tate Ratledge. It ended up being Graham Glasgow. It ended up being a disaster. Against good opponents, you didn't play well. Yeah, and to me, why I asked Dan Campbell that question after the first game was it was jarringly different. You have all offseason to prepare for the game, and you have that many miscommunications. You have that many. Now, that get masked by the fact that you have this momentous wanting to beat Ben Johnson. And momentum in psychology can really carry a team. They score 50 points. That skews a lot of numbers. But you're absolutely right. Against better opponents, the Lions' play was not up to championship par. That's where all the heat comes in from all the critics. Was like, wait a minute. These numbers, again, that's why some of the criticism of Aiden Hutchinson is true. Like today, you went up against backup tackles. He can get 2 or 3 against backup tackles, but can you get 3 sacks against the Packers? Can you get 3 sacks against the Rams and Matthew Stafford? Stats are not hollow. They count. They count on his record. But there needs to be also a recognition of when the sacks happen and impact. Adam, you know what's up. Merry Christmas to you and the family. My man Adam doesn't like all the Stafford heat and doesn't like all the Jared Goff heat. I get it. And we'll talk about that later. Am I right? First, I'm going to be accurate. Is DF damn fool? You know it because if you type that, it's because you think I'm right. Because you know I'm right. I can't make DF to be anything positive. But guess what? You're tuning into me because I got something to say. And I might be the only one crazy enough to be broadcasting at 10:30 at night on Christmas. But I have something to say. And I'm not going anywhere. This Lions football team, to me, needs to prove this offseason that they figured it out. I'm just glad that the whole world caught up. I screamed it for months that I have concerns that draft and develop outside of aggression and free agency and trades is going to be tough. But now, guys, I can't just sit here and lie to you and say if they do that, it's going to work. Brad Holmes doesn't understand cornerbacks. He doesn't understand the position of what a cornerback should look like. I think you let the wrong one leave. You let the wrong one leave. I'm worried now. I am a little worried, and I will be worried for a while. I've been jarred. And there's still people like Michigan Sports Hub that have positive things to say when the Lions took a shit on the field in front of everybody, in front of the whole wide world. What do you be happy for? You're happy that the Lions got eliminated from the postseason? What today would make you happy today? What kind of nonsense would you sell to me that I should be happy for? Maybe tomorrow, but not an hour and a half after you just took a shit on the field in front of your fan base when there's fans in the stands that are watching you. Are you kidding me right now? You can type it all you want, but you're watching me. Michigan Sports Hub, welcome to the community. But you sound ridiculous. Richard Weaver, when do the Lions lose? When the Lions lose, it just gets me depressed. Then I have to wait for a long offseason. Football makes you bummed out when the season ends like this. Listen, I hear you, Richard. It's not fun to go out like this. It's not fun when you get an opportunity to see this kind of ending to a season that had promise. But, eventually, if there are lessons learned and Brad Holmes can figure out, okay, the cornerback spot in free agency, you got to pay well. If he figures out how to manage the draft, these draft picks now cannot be misses. Yeah, Mike D perfectly said. We all need to come back down to earth. Absolutely. And then every time there's a bad loss, you got to see somebody put up the 2023 comments where Dan says, I don't want to be so sad and alarming everybody, but this might have been our best chance. This might have been our only chance. It's hard to get to the NFC championship game. It's hard to have a halftime lead of that nature. 2023 championship game in San Francisco was on my 40th birthday. J Rod, the damager 420. Shout out to you, J Rod. Sorry, your 40th birthday had to go down like that. Man, it's such a decline. After the bye week, the Lions season hit tough times. Kirby Joseph, the knee situation, Brian Branch, Achilles, all the injuries. It just caught up to them. And then, yeah, the mantra for the 2025 season that ended in disaster was we're good. They weren't good. They weren't good enough. And then the trade deadline, you didn't replace the offensive line, and everybody said, "Hey guys, so let's just start with that." At the trade deadline, did Brad Holmes make the team better to get over the hump to overcome some of these things? Maybe the holes were far too many, and the organization was like, "We got too many holes to fill. We can't trade for 6 guys. Not now." And the same thing now. 40, I got this message a lot. You guys are anticipating this media session. What do you want Brad Holmes to be asked about? What do you want him to answer? What do you want Brad Holmes to be asked? I'm very curious. I know you guys want to know about the trade deadline moves, what things went on. So let me just take you through this game. There's so many turnovers. Uh, Listen, the media is going to ask him, why did you take this approach in free agency? Why did you take this approach in the trade deadline? Why did you not understand how important the defensive end spot is? Well, he's going to say, I have a guy with 11 sacks. So we're going to have to bring the stats that, hey, against top 7 opponents, I'm going to bring against top 7 opponents. That's how I'm going to phrase my against top 7 opponents. Your offensive line struggled and your production was this. TM wants to know, do you regret your decisions at the trade deadline? Kobe, Brad, good to see you again. Where you been? I'm wondering, do you still think we're good? He'll be like, what? I wonder if he even knows there's that phrase going around to decipher what the heck's been going on with him. 2001 Toyota Tundra. So, John, when are you going to ask Brad and Dan if they are on the hot seat? That might be talked about. I think just give me a refresher because I didn't listen to Dan Campbell's after media session. He didn't really answer. He said he's got to wait and see on St. Brown, right? He didn't really answer it. Thank you, user. I'm coming to your super chat. Thank you, guys. Real fast reset. We're 40 minutes in. Thank you. I'm enjoying the conversation. We're growing. We got 650 people here across 2 platforms on Christmas. This is great. Drop the super chat. Drop the likes. Yeah, the defense took a swoon. The defense took a dive the last 5 weeks. It's shocking. It's shocking. It's shocking that the defense would go that way, and then the offense became too predictable, and you couldn't figure it out. With Graham Glasgow, Tate Ratledge, Christian Mahogany. Man, like I hope you guys didn't get your hopes up to the Lions were going to get to the playoffs. You know, it was 6% chance, but to play like that against the Vikings team, that's coaching too. There's some coaching in there. $4.99 from user NU3. We had to become an aggressive passing team with a volatile offensive line, but Goff can't extend or throw 25 yards downfield. You said it. His average air yards dipped this year to some ungodly numbers. But you can see it. They're not explosive. Listen, if you take away Jordan Addison's 65-yard touchdown, the Lions' defense was great today. But did you not see that we needed that play at that moment to not happen? If you take that away, the defense was pretty good. I'm like, listen, I don't care. I don't care. It needs perfection. I know the formula. This formula stinks. And they got to throw it out. This chili batch stunk. Injuries, 2 inexperienced coordinators, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Thank you for the super chat. I'm truly humbled. Like the stream. That's the free Christmas gift you can give. Like on X. Comment like you guys have been. Challenge me. I love it. Listen, you guys, some of you thought that I said fire Calvin Shepard as the only reason how that game went. No, there was a lot of reasons. Too many turnovers. Too many. There were 4 rushes that Dan called that were just atrocious. Couple up the middle. Oh, it's over. It's over. Mercifully. I think the word is mercifully. This season's over. But the one thing you remember is Doc will always talk to you people. I mean, I want to talk about it. The Slappies are like, we can't, we just need to wait. We gotta calm this down. We can't, I need some time off of social media. It's too much. It's too much. Too much to talk about the team that flopped. It's never too much. You're talking Detroit Lions football. It's the one thing I want to talk about. That's right. Misery loves company. That's why there's 700 people here on Christmas. This is crazy. I debated with my wife. She's like, do you think people will come in there? I'm like, I think there will be. I think there's a lot of interest in a football team that is regressed. Doc, we need you this offseason the worst way to get the message across that all of us fans want to hear, which is what? Fix this roster. Type in caps. What do you want the message to be that the organization needs to hear from you? Type it in, and then they'll see it here too. There's got to be somebody watching. What the hell is that idiot saying on Christmas? He's like, that guy went on the air on Christmas? You know it. I'm a grinder. And I like talking about the Lions. Sitting there watching, typing. And I think, too, today, which was crazy because, of course, naturally, you don't like to be writing on Christmas. You'd like to be drinking with all your friends and everything else. But I really feel like my game story today was pretty good. The words flowed well, slept well. I felt like the writing content today was pretty good. We did 7 good stories. Support the podcast at Detroit Podcast and click on the links. And thanks. I hope I earned your click, that you don't feel like it's clickbait. And I hope you feel like when the temperature gets the hottest, you don't ever see me type, I need a social media break. I had to avoid this app today. It's like, okay, avoid what? They're just talking about how mad they are. The team stinks. That's it. We're just talking about this mercifully a season ending that did not have to go this way if the couple drafts that just took place for the Lions would have been better. That's all. What happened today? Why did the Lions lose? Too many turnovers. But I also, on X, felt like Brian Flores deserved credit. He ran circles. He coached circles around the Lions this year. Brian Flores is not a bum. Ben Johnson needs to be appreciated for the fact that he got 5 wins in a row for the Lions with Dan Campbell. But he deserves a lot of credit. This year, you lose 2 games to the Vikings. Swept by the Vikings and the Packers? What? Swept by the Packers and the Vikings. 1-4 in the division. Real quickly, a commenter about Goff, easy Lions minute. He can bring you sustained success, but he needs to understand his role and not take up 53 million. He has all the athletic ability Tom Brady had. He's not there to win an MVP. He's there to get the ball to the best skill positions in the NFL and win Super Bowls. That's right. Jared Goff's not worth 50 million. What shaped my opinion is you pay him like he's Patrick Mahomes. He's a $35 million quarterback, 40. And you get Dan Campbell. We're just a little off. Yeah, that's code for we don't have enough talent. Not having enough talent, not talented enough players make the same mistakes over and over again. Or a coach that doesn't get the message across to fix it, which is John Morton. Ben Johnson didn't seem to have the same problems over and over and over and over again with the offense. Let's start with one excuse that I want to make. How do the refs call that a false start on Kingsley to start the game? That's egregious. How? What purpose for those conspiracy theorists would there be to bone the Detroit Lions who draw ratings? Why didn't New York just let the Lions have that? You won't see the Lions in the postseason. Right, Jeff Lammy? How much blame do you give Dan Campbell? How much blame do you give Jared Goff? In about 13 minutes, we'll hit Jared Goff. And I'll summarize my thoughts. I'm not saying you just throw out Jared Goff. I'm saying I'm open to the idea of figuring out somebody else. I'm open to the idea. I'm willing to flirt. I'm not willing to break up with Goff just yet. I'm willing to flirt. I'm willing to flirt with somebody else. Because all you guys, your common answer is who besides Goff? Who? Somebody that can hold on to the damn ball in a critical game when he's getting pressure, the ball doesn't fly out of his hands. Who? Everyone's like, who? Who do you want? Oh, well, that's my job to come up with. I don't know if I'll come up with it today, but I'll come up with some names. Best backup quarterback. There's got to be a name. Or you look in the draft, you say, find somebody. You know what? Fine. If they steal from you, you steal from them. Steal from the Bears. Maybe it's Tyson Bagent. But he was only ranked the 31st best backup this year. Jesus. Steal from the Bears. Would I throw my weight behind Tyson Bagent? I would do it out of spite. Could you win with that? Man, the list is terrible. These backup lists are terrible. My God. That's the only name that's realistic. Jesus Christ. That is the only name, guy. Jesus Christ. Okay, maybe you guys are right. That's the only name. The rest are you have to go in the draft. Bam Bam 714. Merry Christmas. We're approaching 800 people. Keep growing. Let's go. We can go 2-3 hours. Let's talk. Bam Bam 714. We're talking what's your reaction to the loss? The Lions are eliminated. Sup, Doc? Started off better than expected, ended worse than I wanted. There will be blood. Coach about to hack jerseys. Great arm, but his eyes are too close together because peripheral is so tunnel. Yeah, I expect changes. Massive changes. Coaching staff, players. Sup to you, Bam Bam. How was your Christmas? What did you guys do? Where did you guys watch the game? What was your family saying? Did you guys have the classic drunk uncle that's like, told you guys the Lions sucked? Did you guys have the debates between the slappies and the critics right there in your family? No. Where I was at, it was all like, what the hell's this? Like, this game's boring. This game is butt cheeks. Teflon Don, Lions are butt cheeks. We were all like, God, this game is boring. And then everyone was like, what's, and on top of all that, it kind of felt like, you're in a rugged Motor City kind of thing and you're out there gritty. And then you get Snoop Dogg and Andre Bocelli. It was like, everyone's like, Andrea Bocelli. Felt like we all just sit up and like put down our drinks and be like, wait a minute, this is Andrea Bocelli? Like, we got to clean up our act a little bit. Like, we're all belching and telling inappropriate jokes. Like, wait a minute, Snoop Dogg and Andrea Bocelli? What kind of mix is this? First of all, we had to remember, like, is that Andrea Bocelli? The first thing people laughed at during the game was Noah Eagle looked like an AI broadcaster. We're all laughing like, what is this? And I think most people at the place I was at, they were just like, this announce crew sucks. They got no energy. They kind of just like, ah. So they kind of turned it down. And we just watched the game. Barely any interest in the announcers. I felt like, I'm gonna be honest, kind of felt like Drew Brees is a little bit boring as a broadcaster. Just like, yeah. Dylan Campbell, Badgett's on a 2-year contract he just signed. Yeah, it's affordable. Like what, 10 million, 5 million a year, I think he signed for what, 2 years, 10 million? It's not terrible. Yeah, that's the only name though. That's a risk. He's shown it in preseason. That's it. That's a risk. So I got to come better. Because a lot of you guys, and which is true, I respect that. You guys are not really on board with Goff, but you're like, we kind of know what his stuff is. There's not that much better. And the fact of the matter is, that's what sucks. The quarterback play in college is so ass. You know what comes out of college as a first rounder? JJ McCarthy. Dang, I got to go into the college. I got to coach quarterbacks. Like, this is how you play quarterback. Tom Brady, come on my staff. Let's teach these guys how to play quarterback. Man, these quarterbacks are terrible. Corey Patterson, always good to see you. Shep, I agree, needs to adjust, but he had straight trash to coach up. Let's be respectful. Yeah, the Legion of Home's not going to win you championships. I thought the players were good. Jalen Mills, pretty good today. I felt the defense was okay until the end. It's like, the tough part is like, you need him to hold on till the very end. 60 minutes, need you now. 65-yarder to Jordan Addison. Like, come on, you were playing solid defense the whole time. Skyhawk, give credit to the Vikings defense. They dominated. They sure did. Van Ginkel is gritty. There, Alex Anceloni. He's gritty. All right, let's talk about it because I feel like there's 3 names that you guys want to talk about. You can mix in your reaction, but here we go. This might carry us to the next hour. We're going to go small fish to big fish, in my opinion. I want to know all your thoughts. This is going to help shape my thoughts moving forward. A lot of you are wondering, Dan Campbell made the decision. You got to own for the fact that you brought these people here. Dan Campbell, is he the guy still? And I think, too, why the Slappies, just to revert back to that for a minute, as they sip some water, they don't have as many ideas that float through their head. It's like, oh, yay, cheer when they're good. Yay, let's share all the stats. Yay. I can think of topics about the Lions for days, from the 53rd player on the roster all the way to the top. So that's why naturally I like to talk about the Lions. I have a lot of things to talk about. What's good, what's bad, what I liked, what I didn't like. So to go through the game, Noah Eagle, the halftime show was okay. It was perfect because we got to eat dinner right there in the middle. 20-minute halftime was perfect. Got to break through my writing and then come back in right at the end. But then that's when I saw Andrea Bocelli. I'm like, oh man, that's a little bit my flow. How was Snoop Dogg? I miss Snoop Dogg. We were eating and talking. But surprisingly, a lot of people weren't talking about the game. They were just like, ugh. I think the feeling was, God, this game sucks. And most people were like, God, why are you putting all this game on Christmas? Especially coming on the heels of a great Dallas Washington game. That game sucked. Sucked the life out of offense. It was terrible. Two teams that are not going anywhere. All right. Dan Campbell. You still trust him? Do you trust him? He brought on two older coordinators that flopped, Anthony Lynn and John Morton. Yeah, I was wrong. I thought he could handle it. No, he cannot. That's why he doesn't want to do it. No, he needs an offensive coordinator. Let Dan coach. Let Dan be involved. You can't have two John Mortons. That's Dan Campbell's job to bring the X's and O's, to show the schemes, to do. That's Dan Campbell's job. You don't need John Morton for that. So you don't need John Morton as the offensive coordinator. And I think that's pretty much set in stone. We all know what's going on. I think the name people want, y'all want Schwartz. Let him finish his story, right? All right. You guys got to own up. Put it in record. Dan Campbell, is he the guy still? Here's my thoughts. Clearly, there is a stubbornness to adapt to the talent on the roster. There were a handful of decisions where he said, I don't care. The numbers tell me to go for it. He did not factor in the level of talent along the offensive line. He didn't factor in the play calls that he needed to call. I still cannot believe I rewatched that game. It aired yesterday on NFL Network. I had people over the house, the crib, and they're like, you want to watch this again? I'm like, yeah, I'm a sucker. And it's different from a vantage point of watching the TV copy, because I watched the all 22s, but then sometimes I do like to just watch the regular TV copy. And I'm like, fourth down early in the game, a Jared Goff rollout. You effing kidding me? Still can't get over that call. There were so many calls, and he refused to acknowledge publicly that those were the wrong decisions. And he would say, well, it's easy in hindsight to say, well, if they work, then a couple fourth downs work today. But overall, philosophically, I think that Dan Campbell's aggressiveness in the past, you lived by the sword. 2025, you died by the sword. That's a stubbornness. That's an unwillingness to adapt to the roster that you had and give the defense a chance when they were actually playing well. But by the last month, the injuries took a toll, and defensively it fell apart. In defensive line didn't play as well. You didn't get the contributions you needed from DJ Reader. Tyleik Williams was good, but not great. The puzzle never fit. I don't blame Dan Campbell. That's how he is, but he's got to adapt. I think when you're in it and you're coaching and you're doing all the things you got to do, and now you're taking on the play calling duties, he probably felt like to even get to 8 wins, he needed to call the plays. It's big. It's a big problem. But clearly, I think the failure to develop a run game is squarely on John Morton and Dan Campbell's fault, and Hank Fraley. And Tashard Choice, you downgraded. Inexperience. Tashard Choice has experience, but not here in Detroit. Dan Campbell, is he still the guy? I do think he's the guy, but he's not the guy to call plays offensively. He's not the guy to hand the reins to an offensive coordinator in his 50s, 60s. Find a young offensive genius that can call plays, get the ball to St. Brown, Gibbs, and to scheme up a run game. And to scheme up guys, the offensive line scheme was not great. The blocking wasn't great. The zone runs weren't exotic. They weren't that creative. They were easy to blow up. What stage are you guys in? Like I said, I quickly blew through it. Denial, anger, bargaining, sadness, acceptance. I've already accepted it. Team wasn't good enough to win a Super Bowl. I'm not terribly upset for the season. I'm upset for just the 60 minutes I just watched. What phase are you guys in? Sadness? We got 850 people. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 before midnight. Smash the like button. That's how we keep growing. Smash the like button. TM is still sad. I hear you. It's sad. We're into football. Neil Burkholder, I've accepted after Thanksgiving. They weren't going to do anything this year. Neil, and I think fair to say that if you've listened, I've kind of been on that train too. How did you know, Josh Beasley? I knew after the Lions lost to the Commanders in last year's playoff game, they would miss the playoffs this year. How'd you know? Coordinators, Campbell, Brad Holmes were good. Dan Campbell were good. And I appreciate the 850 people here. And I enjoy talking to you guys about the football team, honestly. I'll get to it, Tuna. If I saw it, I did not see it. The comments are flying in here. Thank you for acknowledging it. Thank you. Thank you. And that's what you do. You did the right thing. The comments are flying in because the questions are so good, Tuna. That's what you do. You ask. Very good. Put it in bold. Great question. Who are some OC candidates? $1.99 super chat. Remember, I'm a one-man band here. So you could type in, hey, I sent one. Hello. Good question. I do think Zach Taylor is going to get dismissed by the Bengals. I do think McDaniel has a chance to be on the market. I think one of those two could come. I don't know what the relationship Dan has with the Giants. Kafka, Dayball. I do think that potentially an underrated name that might get the job. He's got experience, but I think he's got to get the chance. I'd give it to Scotty Montgomery. Knows the run game, knows the wide receivers, probably would get the staff tweaked a little bit more aggressive. I think Scotty Montgomery is the right fit. Would not be devastated at that choice, even though there could be better. So, but look for Mike McDaniel. I think there's a lot of respect that Dan would have for him. Zach Taylor, I think, would have respect, but his stock is dipping. And then hopefully, if Jim Schwartz becomes available, I'd take him in a heartbeat. Tuna, thank you for the $1.99. You get $5.99, it gets read so much faster. I'm kidding. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. But yeah, if you guys do send a super chat and it takes a while, put it in caps because there's a lot of comments flying in here. There's almost 1,000 people and you guys are engaged. What I love about this community, if you guys look at other streams, look at mine, comments come flying. And I appreciate that a lot. It means a lot to me. Smash that like button for me. And Tuna, Merry Christmas. Who do you want? Theo. Theo, could you imagine? Sharon would have his fill of sliding to everyone's DM. Theo, Sharon Moore is available. Greg Thomas, Merry Christmas. SW Lion 26. Doc, I'm frustrated that they didn't give Montgomery a chance to finish out the rest of the year. It's just the run game. When you don't have the engine, it's a blown engine. Your transmission's broken. It is a offense that is predicated on, having the offensive line win battles, get some push, and be exotic and get creative. And Dan Campbell called a couple run plays up the gut. I was like, man, that should have just been taken out of the playbook. Up the gut runs. Kingsley Egwakun is what he is. Oh, there goes the snap. Oh, bad snap. That'd be the dream, right? X, the Trim Reaper, McDaniels and Schwartz. That'd be upgrade, right? Upgrade. Corey Patterson, just tired of the wannabe tough fans that even in the back of their minds, SOL still lurking. It's there. They just want to change it to something else. Josh Beasley is another fan. Who are you a fan of? Listen, I appreciate you coming in, talking your trash. You deserve it. Whatever fan base you represent, talk your ish. You deserve it. But we shall rise again, Josh. This is a setback. We, as a fan base, as a Lions group, we just now know the general manager realized, okay, the draft thing is not the only way to go. This year, he graduated from college expert scout to league general manager. This is the year he gets his PhD in that. Yeah. Hey, Doc, got a few things to clean up this offseason. We got just a few things to clean up. We're just a little bit off. It's just a little bit off. We got things to clean up. And then Dan also, this year, what stunk is Dan became cliche. Man, it was good. I mean, the fans liked that he said he got tidy whities for Christmas. But, in the end, I think he would have been better served to call out the players by their name, like Calvin Shepard did. Dude, Calvin called out Terry Arnold the next game. He was running after those running backs like he was going out of style. Theo's right. That's that's my denial. Doc needs to accept that this is more than a one offseason rebuild. You're probably right. You're probably right. But in my position, I want this done faster. You're absolutely right. It is, like I said, the Slappies have weight. They print stuff. They write stuff. So it has impact. So you're right. It may be more. It may be the Brad Holmes and Scott Harris and Steve Eiserman are like, they're all on the phone in the group chat. They're like, this idiot thinks they're going to win in 2026. They all think we're going to win in 2026. They probably included Trajan Langdon. And they're all like, they don't even know. It's 2027 for all of us. For all of them. Pistons got to get the playoff experience. They got to taste some losses. The Red Wings have to figure out how to get to the playoffs. This might be the year, but they got to lose some rounds. And the Tigers are in a business where the best team can spend $400 million, and you're trying to take all these projects that have numbers. We're going to develop. Hey, Scott Harris, man, you got to spend to win. Listen, this is not rocket science. Your growth and development plan does not sell tickets, bro. It doesn't move the needle. But do you trust Dan Campbell to be the guy in charge still? When he doesn't recognize, I have a different kind of team, it still goes for it on fourth down. Today's game plan was atrocious. They don't let you throw deep, so we're not going to throw deep. You know who threw deep on the Vikings? And I said this on a previous stream 2 months ago. I said the announcer said it was classic. They're like, the Eagles don't sit there and wait for they don't wait. They make things happen. Shotgun, boom, boom, throw it deep you got to loosen up, at least try to loosen up the pressure on your run is throw the ball deep. You have to at least try. You can't play football that way where you go, we know Brian Flores is going to take it away, and so we're not going to do it. You got Jamison Williams. You don't have cover 3 quarters busters. You don't have any answers for zone. You don't have any answers for 2 high safeties. You don't have any answers. It's just Brian Flores takes it away, so we don't do it. You don't have answers? Over the middle, dig routes. It's just, man. And everywhere you go, it points to an injury. It points to it's like every department has its leader out. The back end of the defense. Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph out. The defensive line, it's okay. But has a rookie in Tyleik Williams that needs to be spelled by Roy Lopez, who is probably your best free agent addition, is a role player. And you guys are right. Theo is right that Brad Holmes, when we say be aggressive, he may pick the wrong guys. He may have an external free agent strategy that is bad and hurts the team. I like it. Some of you commenters like want to get your stuff in there. That's good. Jenna, very 4451. Hello, girl here. Answer me. What did you get? What did you get in here? I was in the middle of a spiel, Miss Jenna. And I missed your earlier comment. What did you have? There's 1,000 people in here, Miss Jenna. There's a lot of commenters. So I cannot literally get to everybody. But what did you say? Get it in right now. Hello. You just want to say hello to the handsome Middle Eastern fella that's talking to you? Anthony, we haven't gotten to Goff yet. The truth is, Goff can't throw deep into coverage that dictates he shouldn't. He's safe. 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 Yeah, area. Look at that stat. If you want to indulge yourself. Look at his average air yard targets. Oh, they're not good. The next gen stats indicate that his air yards are way down near career lows. Yeah, no shit. My eyes tell me that too. They don't throw the ball deep. Oh gosh, it's been a whole year, Salty. Baby hands, highest tickets in the NFL history, and they roll out a guy with smaller hands than a second grader. That one got retired for a minute. You brought it back. Man. That one got retired, but that came back. Man, I love it. We're almost near 1,000. 950 people across 2 platforms. Man, I'm humbled. See, I knew you guys would come through. One of you guys on X was like, I was like, you know what? I got to talk about this game. I cannot just go to bed living and stewing on that mess. And they were like, nobody cares. Go to bed, hang with your family. I'm like, I hung with my family. I said, the most important person who wants to talk about it, that's me. And if there were 20 people in here, I'd give it the same energy. But there's nearly 1,000 people on a holiday. That just goes to show you the community of trust that was built in the offseason when I did a daily training camp podcast, bringing you all the information. We've gone through the ups and downs of 16 games together, and we've gone through it. And you heard, the guy who's asking the questions. After the Packers game, everyone was like, calm down, calm down. It's one game. Your friendly neighborhood trusted podcaster asked Dan Campbell, why don't you run last year's offense? Your pre-snap motion didn't look good. But that's me. And I hope it's what you guys would want in an accountable reporter is ask the tough questions, figure out, okay, if they win 20-10, why didn't they win 26-10? Because this is still a team that no matter how many slappies talk to you have never been to the Super Bowl. They've never been to the Super Bowl. Never once. Never once has this team been in the Super Bowl. Isn't that wild? It's wild to think about. Man, I just can't imagine that this team and organization still went from the brink of the Super Bowl to not in the playoffs. Theo, nobody brings the heat like the Doc. Nobody. Because maybe I want it more. Maybe I want it more than everybody in this room. Maybe. Maybe I'm that competitive. Maybe I'm that crazily competitive. That's what's in me. Thank you, Theo. Merry Christmas. We're almost at 1,000. Smash the like button. Lots of people saying it's Goff's fault. It's our O-line not giving Goff enough time. That's the realistic thing to say. But can you build a perfect offensive line? Can you build the perfect offensive line? It's hard. Taylor Decker might retire, and Taylor Decker is getting another year older, and he's always now dealing with something. Biggest game of the year, he's got an illness. That sucks. Doesn't practice as much. Nick Dene, Doc, you're the best. Thank you for all you do. Just one in the mix. Just a guy that likes sports, passionate about sports, and really does love podcasting. I really do love it. It's a passion. I've grown to understand what I am. I'm your friendly neighborhood trusted podcaster who can't. Did you notice? This is I did 75 minutes. Did you notice all year the Lions didn't put me on their podcast? They went to the AP. They went to the second, the secondary writers before they went to me. Well, it's clear. Like I said, I'm never going to take their invite. I will say no. They went to 25 other people before they asked me to show up on their podcast. Why? And what am I out of pocket? They'd be like, we got sponsors, man. But no, I was happy this year. I went on a lot of interviews. I did a lot of interviews, man. Thank you. I did a lot of interviews, and it pays off where there's 1,000 people on Christmas sitting in, listening in to a former season ticket holder and a broadcaster talking about the Lions after a devastatingly embarrassing loss. Thank you. I'm humbled by that. You guys are friendly. You guys are a good chat. Even a couple trolls in here. That's what I like. You have a little bit of everything. But yeah, man, it did on a personal note, you could at least extend a charity invite to your podcast. I mean, I am a podcaster. I am somebody that can put some words together, and I might say some things. Maybe I'll surprise you and be like, listen here, Tim. The Lions DVOA is in third place, but when it comes to crunch time, there's opportunities that were missed. And I feel like Kelvin Shepard needs to put this team in a better spot, but the linebackers are really good. Jack Campbell, blah, blah, blah. Like, they don't know. Because I'm very quiet. When I go, like, I light up here. When I go out to the media, you'll be like, that guy's not even there. Like, I just go ask. The questions you hear that I ask might be the only words I speak the entire day in the media room. I'm to the note. I'm typing. I'm transcribing. I'm looking up stats. I'm working with Vito and Christian to get stuff out. So I don't do a whole lot of talking. I talked to a couple of the reporters, a little bit of trolling here and there, and then I get back to work. I treat it as work. I don't treat it as a social hour. That's how I always looked at it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to emote on a podcast. And when I go to work, it's work. It's work time. But damn, you went through 25 people this year and didn't get the doc and invite. My God. You know what? That's good. Motivation for next year. 1,000 people on Christmas. That means a lot to me. Man, if Sheila would ever, I'd ask her for a loan. No, I'd be like, listen, I know I've said a lot of things about the Lions, but I'm willing to sell my soul. If you give me, $2 million, I'll put the Lions logo in my top corner here, and I'll be a slappy. You can turn me into a slappy for a couple. You can turn me from a critic to a slappy pretty fast. No, I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. All of a sudden, you'll know. We'll have a code word. You know how Dave Chappelle, his special was good. It had like 1-2 lines that made you laugh, but it was more like a philosophical soliloquy, which is fine. I get it. But we'll have a code word. He has a code word at the end of his that will tell you he's been corrupted. I'll have one too. What would that code word be to be like, someone paid him to be a slappy? What would I say that you guys would be alerted to on the inside? The 1,000 people here would know right away. Oh, Doc turned. Doc got bought. Would you still follow me? You know what it'll be? It'll be this. I'm a Spartan, so clearly I'm not, all aboard the Hutchinson train at times. Clearly he's a solid player, but just he's a Michigan guy. So the first thing I'll say is, man, that Aiden Hutchinson should get a raise. That's the code. If you hear me say Aiden should get a raise, you'll know someone bought and paid. Someone paid the piper. Someone paid for my words. Aiden Hutchinson deserves a raise. Wear a Michigan hat, right? Yeah, that won't happen. No, yeah, exactly. I'll wear a Michigan. You'll be like, exactly. I'll wear a Michigan hat and I'll say Aiden Hutchinson needs a raise, and you'll know someone paid me to be a slappy. You'll be like, okay. You'll be like, that don't sound like the same guy. Smash, yes, smash the emojis. If you're a member, if you become a member, very affordable. You can be part of the community, member-only videos. I might fire up some tomorrow. We do 4 or 5 member-only videos a week. You get the emojis, member shout-outs. Thank you, Eloy. That's awesome. Yeah, right? PQ. 6 turnovers is unbelievable. Eloy Trevino, shout out to you and Merry Christmas. Smash the emojis. Get 10 of them. Me, Hefe Booner. We almost near 100 members. Oh, you're right. Greg Thomas, 6 decades of misery. When does it end? Will Dan Campbell end it? With Dan Campbell, I feel like you get close, but I feel like Dan can do more damage. Dan can wait to the Super Bowl to be like, I want to kick an onside kick. We're down 9-6 in the Super Bowl. It's defensive. He's going to kick off and he kicks an onside kick like his boy Sean Payton. You know Dan can do more damage. He's aggressive. Live by the sword, but he's okay to die by the sword. He's okay with it. He defends it. Woo! Live by the sword, die by the sword. Great supporter sent me a DM. 4 of the 9 teams to win 15 plus games in a regular season missed the playoffs the following season, including 4 of the last 5. 2005 Lions, 2025 Lions, 25 Chiefs, 16 Panthers, 08 Patriots. Boo. All right. Truth be told, Lions messed up last year. They missed their chances. Man. I know, truth be told, what a way to be out of the playoffs. Merry Christmas. I'm salty. Dan is a great motivator, not a great play caller. What does Dan Campbell got to do to wear a what does Dan Campbell got to do to move forward and become better? What were his biggest downfall this year? I feel like his aggression was a little too dialed up. I feel like the play calls eventually down the stretch weren't the best. So we'll see. Was Blues Dad. Hutch equals not elite. That'll be probably something for tomorrow or Saturday. I'll come back. We'll talk about Hutch, the season that he had. There you go, Phil C. I'll wear a Michigan hat. I'll dye my hair blonde, and I'll say, give Aiden Hutchinson a raise, and you'll know I was corrupted. Yeah. Listen, Blues, it does feel like they ruined it, but I give you the advice that you should have consumed this contest with some booze. Blues booze would have helped you. We're getting close, guys. 970 people. Smash the like button. Maybe we'll kick over 1,000. Maybe the next topic will get us over 1,000. Whoa. Teddy Fresh. I'm coming to you. Teddy Fresh. $20 super chat. Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. All that good stuff. Brad and Dan at the end of the season need to take some accountability and apologize to every single Lions fan. They have sat on their ass the last 2 years, did nothing in free agency or trade deadline, and to address the IR guys. Could you imagine? I'm sorry. Well, listen, I respect that. Yeah, you want accountability. Yeah, they're going to have to face it. I mean, the season was terrible. They're going to have to face the issues. You're absolutely right. They didn't do enough. Complete top to bottom. They're going to acknowledge it. We're going to say, Brad will say it calmly. We got to do a complete top to bottom look at everything like we always do. And the number one thing that has to be somewhat said by somebody is the roster regressed. The roster's not been put together properly because injuries are now a factor, but that's part of the story. That's not an excuse. That's part of your story. Part of the story is you went and that's the next topic is going to be Brad Holmes. Your 23, 24, 25 draft didn't do enough to get you in. When you're in a Super Bowl window, that strategy was wrong. What should have happened was 23 should have been a eye-opener, okay? 24, you push, you go harder in free agency. 4 or 5 players, veterans at the trade deadline in 24. Boom, more. More than Zadarius Smith. But those darn injuries. Aiden, Aleem. But it's like I said, it's just like you're right there. You're right there on the boat and you see the life raft, and every time you go for it, someone yanks it away. All those injuries, how are you going to push? And then this year, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. It's like the all-in timer. We can't push the button yet because of so many factors. But you're absolutely right. And Teddy Fresh, let me entertain this thought as I now start to ponder about Brad Holmes, because it kind of starts to feel like they knew this. Not to this degree, but they felt like they were a playoff team, but would not win a Super Bowl. That's how their actions looked. Think about it, Teddy. Merry Christmas to you and yours. God bless you, man. I really do appreciate seeing you on a Christmas, listening in to some Lions talk. And that means a lot. And then throw a super chat on top of it is really humbling. Thank you. It really means a lot to me, Teddy Fresh. 8644. Shout out to you and the crew. Is Brad Holmes in over his head? And this is what I mean. This is what I mean. He is now tasked with, if you knew Frank Ragnow had those toe issues and you maybe had to think a little bit ahead. You drafted last year Giovanni Manu. You've drafted Colby Sorsdahl. This year, you were a little bit more aggressive. You went with Ratledge and Miles Frazier. Why didn't you get a veteran free agent? Why did you trust Graham Glasgow, who last year against the Commanders didn't play well? Why? A 30-year-old vet and aging and on the decline of his career, that was your solution for Frank Ragnow? Graham has played okay, but he's nowhere near Frank Ragnow, and you could have got better. So that's a misstep. The 23 draft is looking really bad for Brad Holmes. It's rough. When you look at who they could have had versus what they took, and then 24 is not that much better. Meaning, it was a situation in which very well done in the top half, but very not well done starting after the second round. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch. I know Brian Branch seems to be a very much a popular player, still working through some discipline type stuff, always leading with the head, but still a safety that everybody respects. Now, you go on after the first 4 picks, it's the next 4 that if you just could have hit on 1 or 2, you could have been better. Hendon Hooker, Broderick Martin, Colby Sorsdahl, Antoine Green. None of them hit. 50%. Is it 50% a good draft? Some say yeah. But last year's draft with Sione Vaki and Giovanni Manu, too many projects. It's one of those deals where Tyrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw got to give you more. When you're in a Super Bowl window, they got to be out there on the field. Man, 6 selections in 24. This is supposed to be the draft that gets you depth. Look what you did. Tyrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, Giovanni Manu, Giovanni Vaki, Mekhi Wingo, Christian Mahogany. There's one player on that draft that's playing consistently. Vaki is a role player. Mahogany is a starter. Arnold didn't finish the season. Rakestraw didn't start the season, injured. Manu, project, finishes the year injured. Vaki's a special teamer. Mekhi Wingo, healthy scratch, half the season or more. One pick. That's not good. That's 3 drafts. And from the last pick of Brian Branch, things have gone pretty south. They're like, he picked Brian Branch and then someone took his mojo. And one decision that you made that people I think are questioning is you moved on from Carlton Davis, who was a bigger, taller, physical corner that could play man-to-man. That was pretty good last year. And you went with DJ Reed. Tyleik Williams this year in the first round is not a pass rusher. Good against the run. You needed a replacement for DJ Reader, but it didn't help this year. So can you entertain the belief that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, these are smart men. These are not men that just throw stuff against the wall and have no real vision. Could you believe that they believed that, you know what? We got 2 new coordinators. We're going to have to shuffle this offensive line. It's not going to be all that easy. That they felt like it was a playoff team, but not a Super Bowl team. And that's why at the trade deadline, despite having holes on the offensive line with injuries, despite the offensive line being up and down, they didn't push the engine. They didn't push. They were even willing in this last draft in a window to take a player that they didn't get nothing out of until the last 4 games of the season. Does that act like a guy that's hungry for a Super Bowl right now? Tesla is going to be a great player. You got your big target. You got your Puka, maybe. Or you got your end zone red target X receiver. Great. Did that help you win a Super Bowl this year? It did not. Do you trust him to go out there in free agency to pick players that will come in, stay healthy, and contribute? Roy Lopez did. The issue is, and I want to say this respectfully, he can find role players, guys that can bring you bursts of production. But if Roy Lopez was starting 80 snaps, you'd see his flaws. Can Brad Holmes bring young, in their prime contributors to help get this team over the top? He may say, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to keep picking in the draft. He may not do that. He may not be somebody that can handle the intense nature of every decision being monetized, micro dissected to that degree. He went with the philosophy that he could draft his way to a Super Bowl. That's what I'm saying, AG's burner. You cannot limit your approach to acquiring talent. I feel like the external department has not done well. And let me say this. Whoever that lady was, my goodness, why would I acknowledge her, man? My goodness, how much acknowledgement do you need? Please, with all due respect, don't come back. I'm not going to acknowledge you. My goodness. We have our first attention seeker more than me. How much acknowledgement do you need, gal? Whew. You're talking to somebody who can sense things. Whew. Almost at 1,000 people. Smash the like button. We need safeties and O-line in our next draft. They need Doc, defensive end, offensive lineman, and cornerbacks. I go free agent center, legend, pick up a winner. Center, free agent, defensive end, maybe in the draft, cornerback, free agents. Oh, Matthew Thomas. Arnold is just the latest Jeff Okuda. I hope not. I feel like there's more in him, but he's got to stay healthy. He's got to bulk up and he's got to stay healthy. DJ Reed is going to be an issue. Steve Chimenti, Merry Christmas to you, man. Hey, man, Merry Christmas. The best, the Slappies are like, what's wrong with DJ Reader? The Slappies would defend DJ Reader. It's like, yeah, he can reply, but he also used some language that might be unbecoming of a Walter Payton Man of the Year. Shannon Sharp makes a good point. Since Campbell took over play calling duties, what happened? Nobody's in here is blaming him. All you're doing, oh, well, he'll need a new OC. You're right. We said earlier in the show when Dan Campbell took over play calling, I thought it was something he should do the rest of his career. I do not think that way anymore because clearly what we say is you gain some opportunity for St. Brown and JMO to have success, but you lose the details. Like what? This is not a Dan Campbell team making mistakes over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over and over again. We're not there. We're close. Clean up, clean up, clean up. Clean up in aisle 1. Mess up again. Dan Campbell, clean up in aisle 2. Mess up again. Clean up in aisle 3. Mess up again. Clean up in aisle 4. It's like, okay. We get it. You got to clean up. But can you clean it up? No. The answer is no. I feel like the offense took a step back in regards to explosive plays and the run game. Haha, extra. Merry Christmas, Steve. Hope it was a good one. X the Trim Reaper. Brian Brandstem, like, subscribe buttons. Hit the notification bell. Yeah, right around 9:90 on a Christmas evening. Hour and a half in. Probably might go to 2 hours. Maybe 2.5. We'll see. The comments are strong. We got people in here like, acknowledge me now. We got Roman Reigns up in here. Acknowledge me right now. I got to go. You know how you get acknowledged? Faster is if you drop a super chat. You go right to the front of the line. And like I said, there's so many comments flying in. I try to get to as many as I can, interestingly. Keep them coming. Doc, remember when Bill Belichick said the Lions' success was predicated on how Patricia left them? Crazy. Patricia and Bob Quinn did give them good pieces on the offensive line. They sure did. They sure did. Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker. You're right. You're right. Bob Quinn, that was his thing, offensive line. I know Zeitler from AG's Burner. I know Zeitler wanted to play close to home, but this was pretty much his last big contract. Do you think Brad lowballed Zeitler? I just didn't think they wanted to pay a veteran that much money to play the position when they could draft it. Because guess what? You had to pay Aiden. Got to pay Kirby. Got to pay Brian soon. Got to pay Jahmyr Gibbs $20 million. Got to pay JMO. Uh-oh. Decisions, right. When I say is he in over his head, you didn't have to pay everybody. This is not the Bank of America here. This is not the Ford Field Bank. You didn't have to pay JMO. You didn't have to pay Kirby Joseph. These players can have their contract, and you could franchise tag one of them. JMO now look like it's going to be fine. Kirby, of course, injury is going to derail that. That's unfortunate. You hope that he comes back strong. But the one sentinel one is if you pay Jahmyr Gibbs, you could, like I said, 23, 24, 25. You can get him for 26 and 27 and 28 on a franchise tag and move on. 6 years under your first contract. That should be how it is. Wow, we just crossed 1,000 listeners. Wow, I'm going to take a picture there. Thank you, guys. On a Christmas. That's really nice. Man, that's a nice accomplishment. You put a big smile on my face. On a Christmas 11:36. Thank you, guys. That's really nice. Just listening in, lurking, talking, reacting. I won't forget it. I don't forget. I show loyalty. You didn't have to, and are you willing to drop another 20 million? And the big question is, are you going to restructure Goff? I think you could do better. I think you could do better. Everything could be better. Philosophically, draft, develop, sign. What did it get you? Regression. Draft, develop, sign. Everybody got hurt. It produced, you're out of the playoffs. What the heck? It's now the reflection is the Lions are not going to be done. They'll be done after next week. New Year's Eve, Wednesday, New Year's Day, Thursday. Yikes, man. I think AG's burner, the first one's left tackle Proctor, I think from Alabama. Everyone's talking about him. Caden Proctor. Big man, number 74. That's a name that's showing up on a lot of mock drafts. Jay Reese, $2 super chat in blue in Honolulu Blues. Why don't we have a solid backup quarterback? The one regret I would have with this NFL is they have a cap. Could you imagine if Sheila Hemp could just spend? You could have a $50 million quarterback and then another $20 million backup. They don't. They have a solid one. I think Kyle Allen did an okay job. I don't think he'd win you a Super Bowl if Jared Goff went out, but I think he's solid. You're top heavy, and that produces. I think you guys are nearing that point of the show where you want to talk about it. And plus, Jared Goff wants a comfortable room. He likes his friends. He likes his peoples. When you're paying someone $50 million, they get what they get. You don't want that noise where, the first 2 weeks, he throws one bad pass, and I'll have the camera on and be like, Dan, what about Jay? He's looking pretty good in practice from what I'm hearing. It's like, no one's telling you that he's playing well in practice. Yes, they are. It's Jay Stees. Okay, you can throw that in there. Who are your early draft crushes? Who are your draft crushes? We'll have a mock draft probably on Saturday. Listen, tomorrow is postmortem. Man, I can't believe on the second day. That means in the first week of January, we will probably hear from. I can tell you. The season ends on the 4th. Clean out is the 5th. Bop, Dan Campbell on the 5th. I would say Wednesday the 7th or Thursday the 8th is the time. It is coming. You will hear from Brad Holmes that week. January 7th or January 8th. Get ready. Maybe even the 6th. I may just get it out of the way quick. Boom, 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 boom. Finish the season on the 5th, clean out. Dan and Brad on the 6th. But that week, man, it's coming up quick. Wow, the season's done, fellas. Season's done. Who is your draft crushes? Fill me in. And then we're going to go draft heavy. We're going to be in the business of fixing the Lions. And we're going to hate watch the Bears and hate watch the Packers. But you guys are ready to have the talk, so we'll have the talk. Is Jared Goff still the right quarterback? Here's my thoughts on him. Dan Campbell said it. I thought it was a fair comment. You can do worse than Jared Goff. The problem lies in, okay, do you see a generational Kansas City run with Jared Goff? 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. I do not. The issue at hand is this, guys. I know everybody thinks you're Lions royalty and that you just show up, build a team, and they win a Super Bowl. It doesn't work like that. The only way you build a dynasty is when your quarterback is the 1, 2, or 3 best quarterbacks in the world. Period. A Mahomes, a Brady. That's it. Upper echelon. What Jared Goff is a Steve Young one miracle Super Bowl run. You build a team, you get there, and that's it. You're not going to cash in 5 Super Bowls with Jared Goff. It doesn't work that way because you need so many good players. Well, if you have so many good players, you have to pay those good players. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, all got paid. When you start paying people, that means your depth opportunities are less and less and less. You're down to Jalen Mills and Thomas Harper and Daniel Thomas, and you're starting to go on, these 4th and 6th rounders, which is so hard to do. So when your quarterback is making that much money, you are basically saying, we got to build a team around this guy that's really solid. And the timing just doesn't feel like it meshes. Jared Goff is 31. You probably got 3 more years in his prime where he's sharp, everything's with it. 3 years. Next year is not guaranteed because you got to repair that offensive line. If you shift Tate Ratledge over, who's to say, besides the slappies, that Tate Ratledge is just going to shine and start winning games? The schedule may help you, but the Giants, Jackson Dart, you guys will be like, most of you are going to put Jackson Dart as a win. Jackson Dart might throw the ball for 500 yards against you with a real coach, especially if Ray Agnew gets the job there. He'll probably take he'll probably take some of the people from the Lions. So next year's tough. Well, all the escalators start hitting. Goff, St. Brown, Penei. It gets harder. And you got to build a good team. And I get it. Everyone says you have to have the offensive line for Jared Goff, just like every quarterback. Yeah, it's part of the recipe. But guys, there are a handful of plays. Jared can make them, but what happens is when he faces good defensive lines or a Brian Flores, guys, the Vikings are a defensive team, clearly. Isn't that the caliber at minimum of what you're going to see in the playoffs? The Brian Flores defense? The book is out. Everyone sees what to do to pressure Goff. Starts dropping the football, starts interceptions, 5 turnovers, 5. It's like the Commanders game all over again. Oh, Jared Goff turned it over again. So here was my comment. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I just have wandering quarterback flirting eyes. Like I want Patrick Mahomes. I want a Joe Burrow in his prime that stays healthy. So here was my comment on X. I might be wrong, but I just look at quarterback play as being the most elite position that is demanding. Like I need perfection, and especially seeing how tough it is to win a Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford was here 12 years. You guys called him the greatest you ever saw in a Lions uniform. He didn't win here. Jared Goff's not as good as Matthew Stafford, period. How close to perfection can you get for this guy? Because that performance you just saw, I've told you could see when there's a good defensive team. You could see that performance in the Super Bowl. I don't want to see that in the Super Bowl. Someone asked me, would you trade Goff for Lamar Jackson? I just need Goff's arm and pocket presence in Lamar Jackson. I'd do it. Man. It's just, Why doesn't the puzzle ever fit? Why can't the Lions ever get the puzzle to fit? You get a great quarterback, then everybody's got to get paid, and now you can't add around it. You got to and you guys all think all 8 players Brad Holmes is going to draft next year is going to be perfect. Maybe, maybe I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm talking myself into thinking next year is just going to be 10-7 and get to the playoffs and lose. But we'll see. If they do, Dan Campbell said major changes got to happen. I hope that's the case. But is one of those decisions, do you extend Jared Goff? Do you restructure his contract? I can't believe the Lions sitting here as we approach um, December 26th have some tough decisions to make. So my comment was pretty straightforward. I said, a lot of expos were made here over the last couple hours here. It's good. And so what do you guys think? Let me get to your comments. What do you think about Jared Goff? Should they restructure him? Okay. Posted it just before the game ended or a little after. I said, here's my opinion. You can win with Jared Goff, but he won't lead you to sustained success. 1 Super Bowl max. If the team is lucky and things are perfect, I would move on. That's just my opinion. Prove me wrong. You guys are probably right. Good quarterback, fits the system, fits everything that you need. But the next coordinator, what is he going to come in and just right now? The Dan Campbell, John Morton weren't able to get the same success as Ben Johnson. It's going to cost a boatload of money to move on from him. But the Broncos have shown that if you owe someone 150 plus or 100 million plus, you can take the cap hit and figure it out. But it would cause some short-term damage. I think you could maybe get 1. He's got limitations and he's 31. I think you get 1. Kobe. Merry Christmas. Let's not get too crazy here, though. With a pretty bad line, they were still a top 4 to 5 offense with Mr. Goff. Again, that is inaccurate. Go back, read Mr. Baydoun. They averaged 18 points against the 7 best teams they faced. Remember, numbers are skewed. If you score against bad defenses, you score 50 points a game against the Bears team with the head coach that just got there, and the players don't know if they're running left or right yet, that skews the numbers. You played a Commanders team without Jaden Daniels. They scored a lot of points that we consider hollow. It's hollow. So go back and look. Just don't look at stats, extra trim. Don't look at stats. You have homework because Adam told you, go find the comment from Adam Baydoun and rewatch those 7 games. Start with the Packers. Start with the Packers on Thanksgiving. Go backwards to the Eagles game. Goff and his wobbles. Goff and the glove. Eliminate the Giants and Commanders and all those teams. Watch the losses. Watch what you see. And you'll come back in 2 weeks and give me the report. See, Mert, pummeled bad defenses all season. Yeah. Merry Christmas. Nice profile. See, Merck. Right. Currently, Goff, your favorite uncle, Goff counts 70 million against the cap next year. That's the issue. That's the dilemma. If you restructure him, you'll get 40 to 50 million in cap relief. But that means he'll be here for 26, 27, 28. You're just kicking the can down the road. That's the problem with giving him that money. Maybe you didn't need to give him that money. You never know. It's a dilemma. So it's just basically you're stuck with them, so you got to build around them, but it's going to be expensive. How many Super Bowls did Matthew Stafford win with the Lions? Jason L. reminds us 0. Right. That's why I was right in 2017. That's kind of how I built my name in these parts, was screaming, don't pay the 25, don't pay the 25, don't pay the 25. Please don't pay it. Everyone's like, yeah, pay it. You're stupid. That's the going rate. It'll be cheap. I'd be like, I said, I don't care if the next quarterbacks make 40 million. Stafford ain't going to win you nothing. And I'm getting the same vibe from Goff. You got to build and build and build and build and build. Guys, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. You just need a quarterback that can extend plays. Guys, you need Brosmer's legs and Goff's arm and talent. You see how Brosmer was able to escape the pocket a little bit of times, but still the Lions got to him? I feel like you're trapped. Trapped in the pit of these big, tall, Caucasian quarterbacks that can't win. These corporate quarterbacks that can't win. Man. James, I hope not. Lions Live 365, not a playoff defense. We have to score 30. James Hardick. Vikings will win before us. JJ McCarthy, you think he's got something in him still? What do you guys think? Brock Purdy or Jared Goff? Well, Brock Purdy was able to have a little bit of mobility. You know what? See, Mark, you might be seeing the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Can they hang with the Rams or the Seahawks? Maybe not, but those look like playoff teams. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about Stafford? Are you okay? If you keep Stafford, if you say, okay, Doc, we know how you feel. You said it a million times. Here's how we got to build. Are you okay with Taylor Decker coming back with Mahogany at left guard, Ratledge at center, Frazier at right? And Penei Sewell at the right tackle spot. Are you okay with that? Or do you say, well, it might be time to say bye-bye and get Taylor Decker's cap space, Dave Montgomery's cap space? Julian Vivas, 28.95, 199. Do you think Lions get rid of Goff? I would be shocked, but I know they're talking about it. His cap space is too much. He's the guy. They're building around him. That's what stinks, is that I just think that there's better. My brain just tells me better. Like, I don't settle. I'm all about the team, not the players. The team. I feel like there's better. Out of the 1,000 quarterbacks that play college and the 62 that play in the NFL, you can't find any better? Probably not. I just read you the backups. That takes out the 30 backups. Is there that Patrick Mahomes in this draft that has the potential? Now it's my job to search. I haven't looked yet. I will start tomorrow. We're hunting for quarterbacks. I will bring you the names of who I think will be legendary. Yeah, dude, that's the question. Who do you want for quarterback? Remember, the season just ended 90 minutes ago. That's a great question. It is my job to hunt that down. Who? That's what you guys want to know. My job is to come up with a name. Who? You know, let's talk turkey here. All right. Here's what we do. Let's have a crazy strategy. This is probably not even realistic, but it's 11:56 after some drinks, after some writing. The Giants broom out their whole front office and their whole coaching staff. Right? All right. Here's the plan that's got to take place. You got to reverse engineer it backwards. Or you got to call up an old friend and see if they'll do it. The Giants hire Ray Agnew. Now, again, the feasibility of this, you guys can tell me. I'm just talking from the top of my head. You call up Ray Agnew as he signs to be the general manager, and you go, okay, you give us Jackson Dart. We'll give you Goff and 2 first-rounders. And you just reverse the Rams trade back to the Giants. They get a quarterback. They start their regime with the right people. They take Brunell. They take Tashard. They take all the coaches, and we restock the coaches, and we got a athletic quarterback. Now, the problem is he'll be great for a year, and then he'll have all these issues that he's had this year. But he's got to be mobile. Okay, fine. Okay, take away the 2. Okay, AG's right. Okay. I'm just, like I said, spitballing. Okay, you guys don't want to give that up. 1 first rounder. Okay, 1. 1 first rounder. We get Dart and whatever around it. Okay, because remember, I'm going off of, Stafford, what was high potential. Lions took Goff. Lance, those words have not been uttered. No. Get Favre and Barry Sanders out of retirement. What do you think? Oh, there's another name. No, absolutely not, Lance. I am sophisticated. We have not used that word in here. We are talking how to fix the Lions. And so someone has put up a name that I may have to entertain. Someone has put up a name that I may got to entertain. Bob Johnson says no. So my first plan to trade for Jackson Dart, no. Okay. Some of you say yeah. DM5 TV, it's why we love having you here. Would you trade Jared Goff? It feels like we're giving up a lot for that type of player. Jared Goff, they send us Shedeur and a second. Straight up. Eat the cap money. Eat the dead money. Just go into cap hell for 2 years. You'd have to sacrifice a couple years of winning. You'd have to sacrifice winning because that cap hit will be a nightmare. Wait till I tell you this dead cap number. You're gonna be like, whoa, baby, you can't get anybody. Jared Goff's dead cap is $63 million. With a $70 million cap hit. It's not horrible. It's not horrible. Last year and this year were the highest to take. So it's not out of the realm of possibility to trade Jared Goff. It's not pretty, but would you trade Jared Goff for the right price? The backup from the Chiefs. I did not watch. I said the name. Do you guys want to steal from the Bears and just trade for Tyson Bagent? Just keep Goff and trade like a third rounder or one of the trade a pick for Tyson Bagent. 313 Thug Living says Sam Darnold. I think Sam signed a 1-year deal. Let's look it up. Sam Darnold. Did he sign a multi-year deal? I know he got paid. I think he got some multi-years. Let's see. Sam Darnold contract. Yeah, he got 3 years and $100 million. So you got to give up picks. So you're not doing that. Not for Sam Darnold. I think Shedeur Sanders or Tyson Bagent. This is the discussion we're having. Is that crazy at this time of night? Would you let Ray Agnew go somewhere else, get a job? He deserves it. He's done a good job. Should Lions trade Jared Goff for either Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders? Why no on Shedeur? Not enough? What about see, I don't like the starter for the Browns. So or Shedeur Sanders. And this was I'm glad you guys are listening at least to this conversation. It's not out of the realm of possibility to have the talk. But again, he's not to blame. I don't know if the Bengals are going to give him up unless he publicly says, I want out. Would you entertain a trade for Jared Goff? Is he the guy still? What? Because here's the thing. You know you got to build around him, but it's not that easy. The Lions tried 2 offensive linemen this year. Matthew's like, no. Matthew Thomas, 7777. Quadruple sevens. Goff ain't going anywhere. Yeah, it's a long shot, but I have to entertain it. At this time of night, it makes me feel better. There are 1,050 people in this conversation on December 26th. Let's keep it going. Smash the like button for your friendly neighborhood trusted doc. You know somebody that keeps it real, that's willing to talk Detroit Lions well into the evening. Right. That's what I think too. See, Mercadia, Dan is so in love with Goff. Don't you fall out of love when you see the guy? Like, I just want him to, like, someone to just email him Goff's 5 turnovers today. Fumble, fumble, interception, interception, fumble. Fumble, 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 interception. Like, can someone just email that on a loop? Like, doesn't that just stick with you? And then nobody is allowed in the group chat to say offensive line. Just Goff, his film. Just watch that. Fumble, 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 interception, interception. Pick, fumble, fumble, fumble. Hit, no mobility. And then I'm going to add the safety to the film. JW, we're not assigning fault. Listen, nobody's assigning fault. Jared Goff will leave here with his head held high. We will say he was the second greatest quarterback or the first to leave here. I just want to entertain better. They're not his fault. He's not to blame. He's the greatest. He's not to blame. It's not his fault. But I just want the idea to be put out there. There can be better. There is always better in football. NFL, not for long. There's always better. In 3 years, anyway, he's going to be gone. He's 34, 35 years old. You think they're going to keep a 36-year-old guy? He's going to slow down. Jared Goff is not going to be a 40-year-old quarterback slinging the rock. That's not going to happen. So you either build around him, which is going to take forever. So I think that, fine, whatever the value is, Phil, whatever the value is, fine. Okay, third rounder, second rounder, whatever it is. I feel like his tape on one end could bring you something. I feel like some teams need a guy that can take them from garbage to 10 wins. That's Jared Goff. If you build the offensive line young and affordably, you can do that. Look at Caleb Williams. Boom. Couple draft picks, couple free agents. Now, the Lions are a different spot. The Lions are in a spot where we got to win a Super Bowl. Just one. There are so many bad teams. I feel like Jared Goff would garner 2 or 3 teams that would call and you get a first or second rounder. Let's just say Goff and a first rounder. And maybe you get a second back, or you trade him, you give up a second and you get back a third. Whatever. Let's not get hung up on whatever. Would you entertain it for any of the 2 players we named? Okay, no team's offering a first. Fine. Third, would the Giants and Ray Agnew trade us a third and Jackson Dart for Jared Goff? Whatever parameters you want. Would you want those 2 quarterbacks, Shador or Jackson? Or is it Tyson Bagent and you figure it out, you build an offense around him? Am I crazy? Is Jared Goff still the right quarterback for the Detroit Lions? My answer is no. I mean, I'm also now going to investigate the draft. I'm going to sit in the film room for the next month, and I'm going to scout the quarterback spots. Duh, your friendly neighborhood podcaster is not going to just say it and not deliver. And remember, Jared Goff deserves credit. He rose the team from the ashes just like Dan Campbell. That's why we're talking about everybody. Dan Campbell, if there's another coach, and I did not say this last week, but I did think it, and now it's past midnight, so it's a free-for-all. I did entertain the thought, if I could get this parameter, if Mike Tomlin takes a year off, refreshes his brain, if he's still there, I thought last week, would you guys have traded straight up Dan Campbell for Mike Tomlin? Is Mike Tomlin the Pistons' Larry Brown? Dan Campbell's like Rick Carlisle, gets everybody motivated, gets the organization in belief, and then Mike Tomlin comes in and picks up the rest to the next level. I thought that. I just didn't have the courage to say it because the Lions were still in it. Or for anybody, is the Larry Brown out there? Is Dan Campbell Rick Carlisle, or is Dan Campbell Larry Brown? I feel like both would actually thrive. Dan Campbell could get the new, fresh, young quarterback. Mike Tomlin could bring along Jared Goff, bring a nice system in place that would kind of be maneuverable based on the run, tough physical defense. So again, listen, nothing's on the table. You're a losing organization. You're going to be 8-9. You regressed. You regressed from NFC Championship game, first round playoffs to not in the playoffs. Everything's on the table. If you don't want to entertain stuff, go talk to the slappies who hide on the internet when things go bad. I want to debate. I want to discuss. And these are things I'll go into deeper. But right now, these are the things we're going to talk about this offseason. And the Lions brought this on yourselves. So would you trade Jared Goff if this is what comes to fruition? Right, Jason? Lions are in last place as we sit here on December 26th. At least some of you entertained this idea. Hand-painted Bud. Shador would be good. Oh, see, that's another problem. Brad Holmes would piss away that third-round pick, per usual. What are those? Would you trade it, one more year, Jeremiah Smith? Brad Holmes changed, Amon-Ra, J-Mo, Tesla, Jeremiah Smith. I'd do it. Bob Johnson. Why do people want us to keep going and getting low IQ quarterbacks? Richardson and Shador are low IQ quarterbacks. I respect your opinion, but we like the athleticism, and we feel like over time, you need to sneak that 1 or 2 Geno Smith type seasons that they had when they evolve. Chison, Goff to the Raiders for the first pick, Mendoza. What do you hope to hear from my man Maz? Maz is one unique fella. Good man. Kind man. TJ Woo Wit. Can't wait to hear Maz on Woodward Sports in the morning. What's he going to spit out? The Lions got to blow it all up. He'll swing to the other side this time. He finally has to tap in. He has to tap out. The Lions got to trade everybody. Me, I can't wait to hear Ryan Armani on WJR. I can't wait to. We should all go into Ryan Armani and be like, remember that post you said that you still felt like the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl? What the hell is that about? I know. Just tag me when Stick's on the air. I should call him up. Be like, Stick, how you feeling? How you feeling? Y'all fake fans out there. Okay. I'm a faker. Okay, man. Good. No, he good. No, he definitely keeps it real. Alan knows what's up. You guys are flying. There's 12 after midnight. You guys are after midnight crowd. I'm the VIP after. There's 1,200 people in here. Smash the like button for me, please. That's awesome. We're just talking Lions. What's your reaction? Is Dan Campbell the guy? Is Brad Holmes the guy? Just the state of the Lions, general disappointment. And we're just saying, hey, let's just get rid of everybody and figure it out. We're having discussions, reacting, just kind of looking at options to replace Goff. Is Brad Holmes the guy? What would you ask Brad Holmes on the 5th or 6th of January when he speaks? And there's a lot of comments in here, man. Thank you. Alan Shamoun. Habibi, you should get the hookah ready with some shawarmas. Yeah, Habibi. Yes, sir. I can't because it feels like it's like a victory hookah. It feels like a death hookah, right? After Brad Holmes does his talk, we'll light one up. Lemon mint with the orange head. We'll do it. We'll get the camera set up, and Habibi will talk Lions. Thank you, man. Merry Christmas. Inshallah, everything is great. Shoo. Inshallah, the missus is treating you good. Thank you, man. Thank you. What are those? Reposted this stream. Mr. Shimon, thank you. Where are you listening from? Dearborn? Sterling Heights? I want to see more of you. Comments. Right, your favorite uncle? Exactly. Even if we're not talking realistically here, Goff has cement shoes and costs 70 million. Dart is 2 million with wheels. Windsor, very close. Very nice. Shout out to Windsor, our people in Windsor. Def 2819. Dart will be a less successful RG3. Man, I feel like he's a gamer. You know what? Listen. Sometimes the magic universe brings thoughts to your brain and you just express them and they're really good. You hire Brian Dayball, you trade for Jackson Dart. Does the universe work out that way? Bloop. Does the universe work out? First of all, you got to get the Giants. We have to get on the train of firing their incompetent general manager. That general manager is incompetent. Dayball was terrible as a head coach, but he's known to work with Josh Allen, and he's a great offensive mind. He's a guru. So he could run the offense tailored to Jackson Dart and Jahmyr Gibbs. And you get a defensive guru in here that can actually not, have the defense fall apart for a whole month. Steve, I get you. It is. It has the feel of this is like the end of year talk, and you're still in the anger phase. I get it. We got kicked in the nuts. It's another year of hope. But when you take a step back in 2 weeks, remind yourself the national media did a good job of raising the alarms. Listen, this is what happened. And I'm guilty of it too, because I definitely acted that way when my podcast in 2019 signed with a major company. You brag a little bit. So here's what happened. The Lions fans in 2013 knew NFL royalty. And we got blinded by the success. So we finally, after all the years of being the gutter of the NFL, the Lions are winning games. You're within one half of the Super Bowl. So the Lions fans, myself included, acted like they arrived, like they won a Super Bowl. We acted like 23 was a win, and then we celebrated 24 as a coronation of 23. So we celebrated all year in 20. Last year felt like an all year party. We trolled every fan base that we beat. Every team I feel like on the 15 that we won last year, the Lions fans were like, we own the league. And it was an all year party until and they kept winning with all the injuries because you had the secret sauce. You had you literally lost your best player and your defense was fine for the most part. You lost Aleem McNeil, that put a big dent. But what happens is reality hits, and Graham Glasgow and Christian Mahogany weren't that great in the playoffs, and the real test happened. So the party ended, the club closed at first round of the playoffs last year. But we all wanted to keep the party going because it was really fun. The last year's party was really fun. It was trash talking. The Slappies were dancing and sharing and everything. And they were like, well, we're going to keep this party going because the euphoria was awesome. But the realists came out and the national media were like, wait a minute, you just lost the secret club. Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and you lost a lot of coaches too that were off that staff. The quarterback coach, the assistant quarterback guy, JT Barrett, I think, left. The wide receiver coach left. Antoine Randall. So then people were like, wait a minute, there's going to be some turnover here. And we were like, no, we're new royalty now. We can keep it going. I had 11 wins, but I think this team could have won 11 if they were healthy. But I think the blind spot was they would have needed, if they were healthy, they would have added at the deadline and they would have maybe made a push. But this, as constructed, still not yet a Super Bowl team and a Super Bowl organization. And when you have another year of injuries, listen, you didn't, and your credit card debt came through from all the clubbing we did last year. So we had a nice $200,000 limit on our credit card, and we used every penny. We bought every bottle last year, and we started off with zero debt, but then we racked up 200,000. And now this year, we went to cash it one more time, and the credit card company's like, no, you now owe 200,000. You partied and you spent and you acted like you were a fool, and now you got to pay it back. It's new money Lions. We acted that way. Sorry. Well, I mean, come on. We were the basement of the league. That was a fun ride. I would do it again. But now the realism hits that, okay, you're not the Chiefs. You're not the Denver Broncos. You're not the Packers. You are the bottom dwellers of the league, and you got to work your way back up. Not house of cards, but the foundation was a little suspect. Now you got to fix it because the competition got better. They stole your secrets. So now you got to figure it out. You got to ask the question. The big pieces, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, Jared Goff, are they the right pieces? Can you upgrade at certain spots? Right? Did I explain that even closely, remotely to make sense? I think it did. It sounded good saying it. You know, it's sad but true. It was new money. We acted like new money. We flaunted. This year was the reckoning. You had too much overhaul, and then too much noise. Like typically, you know, the Alex Anzalone started with Anzalone's noise in the post and prior to the year, too much noise. You had way too many injuries, and the straw that broke the camel's back is you got a defensive leader in DJ Reader telling everybody to handle business for him. Amen. Amen. That's not really the direction the Lions were looking to go in. And I think he knew it. I think he's like, oh, I think my time's up. So I'm going out with a bang. See, Jotty, proud of you for checking in. And listen, I respect you for having opinions and having different opinions. You don't have to agree with me. I just have a very high standard of I want Patrick Mahomes. I want Tom Brady. The X world's like, are you joking? Are you talking about? How about Goff and a third for Dart? And a third. They get Ray Agnew to be their GM. To be their GM, and we hired Dayball. See, the best part is the hotheads now, I think they're all drunk. They're all like, what the hell is this idiot spewing on the internet? We're just talking. We're just talking. Makes you feel better, doesn't it? The best part is it's two different vibes. You guys are more laid back. You're just enjoying it, lurking, talking. The X is like, what the hell? You know, we're just discussing. Like, listen, everything's on the table. You guys are not nothing. Your account has nothing in it. You got you're basically right now known as a team that choked away a 2023 chance to get to the Super Bowl. That's what you are. Everything's on the table. And also, too, Dan Campbell said it. We got tough decisions to make. So now, okay, that was the fantasy portion of the show that made me feel better. You guys tell me, Goff, any scenario, you trade him for anybody. Mishanuga, what's wrong with half of these fans, bro? Let me tell you, they get loyal to the players. Fans like players. I get it. You buy their jersey, you support the players. I get it. It's a philosophy, and that's the disconnect. Is I think there's two camps. The fans and the slappies love the players, love them, adore them. They want to go sign. You know, they still would want to sign Quandre Diggs to this day. Where's Quandre? It's like, guys, they love Quandre. I was like, okay, guys, he went back to Seattle. So I think the critics focus a little bit more on what's the front office not doing properly to win a Super Bowl. And so to me, if there was a quarterback, like if the Giants called and said Jackson, I just do it. I've seen enough. Yeah, I think that Goff can win you a Super Bowl, but I don't think that he's generational. You need the move that I think for me underlying my talk is and this is just me. I've always wanted a Patrick Mahomes. I've always wanted the general manager to be like an Andy Reid, where he's like, there's this wizard kid in the draft and nobody's talking about him. We're going to get him. And then we're going to start him. Because to me, I've always felt like Stafford and Goff are Alex Smith. And there's a Patrick Mahomes out there, if you can find him. But no. Everybody saw that it's not Jared Goff's total fault, but they're not willing to accept that, you know what? You may also have a pathway to win with a mobile quarterback and maybe not the best offensive line. There's also a pathway to build the Dallas Cowboys offensive line with Nate Newton and you get Troy Aikman. But I'm a little more skeptical that you can do that. It's hard because I feel like when we get Nate Newton and Emmitt Smith, they're going to get hurt. So I'm cheating the system. I'm cheating the system. I'm not waiting for Nate Newton and the Dallas Cowboys offense, the big boys. I want to cheat. And I want a wizard like Patrick Mahomes. I want a wizard. So here we go. Might be the last half hour. Get your questions and comments in. We're still going strong. There's 1,200 people in here. How the hell does this stream keep growing from 200 to 400 to 800 to 1,200 over 2.5 hours? That doesn't make logical sense to me, but I love it. That the more I talk, I feel like the more nonsensical it gets and the more theoretical it gets, but I feel like you guys are enjoying the ideas. This is great, and it means a lot to me. Smash the like button for me. Hit the notification bell. This is what I would like to let you guys in on. There could be some changes where Taylor Decker is forced out. What do you want me to ask? What do you want me to ask Brad Holmes? I don't know. I mean, in the end, his record is his record. The team regressed. You know, he's going to coach speak it away. He's going to say that the season wasn't ever, anytime you win a season. And remember too, guys, when I asked Brad Holmes, I asked him, why is this a Super Bowl team? I directly assessed it and said, I don't like his answer. I said, I like Ray Agnew's answer better. Ray Agnew said this team has a bunch of impactful future Hall of Famers on it. Brad did not give a good answer. Go back and listen to his before the season media session. It's the last question I asked. I said, why is this team a Super Bowl team? And then on X, I said, I don't like that answer. It didn't sell me on nothing. But what do you want to ask? I think the one question that I want to know is, are you going to change your philosophy to focus more on external free agents and trades? And what did you learn from the draft strategy of 23? It doesn't appear that the 23 draft and 24 have helped you enough. Do you agree? What are you learning? Do you feel like you're no longer going to take project players? There's so much to talk about. But I got a week to decipher how do I and do I talk for 2 minutes before I deliver my question? I feel like I'm due for one. I'm owed one where I just talk for 2 minutes to Brad. So Brad, I've noticed that the season didn't go as planned. You were one half away in 23. The team has regressed. You came into the year with a draft and develop strategy, and it didn't exactly go right. And you now are left in a position where this team might need to be drastically changed. Do you feel like the opportunity presents itself for you to be a lot more aggressive to acquire a certain standard of player that can help this team win a Super Bowl? I feel like that was too short. I want to talk more. I feel like I'm owed, right? Am I allowed a little soliloquy? And just to get Brad to say, get like, are you gonna stop? Are you gonna stop talking? uh, right? But I can't do that. See, I'm not that way because in the middle of it, he'd be like, Doug, are you laughing? I'll be like, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of my YouTube chat. They'd be like, Dog, you can't so that's one of the secrets why I get to the point because the more words I use, it might just veer off into a bunch of just me telling them what I think. Uh, that's why I like direct questions. Brad, why was this season a failure? Why was this season an abject failure? But you guys know there are people that in the media that like to ask questions that way, that want to preface everything and deliver a 4-minute soliloquy by the time. And I'm honest too. Sometimes halfway through some of these questions, I'm like, sometimes I think Dan and Brad are the same way. They're like, I can't listen for 2 minutes for you to explain all these things. Get to your question. Brad, I've noticed that at the trade deadline, there were opportunities that you could have made a trade for an offensive lineman, but we know that offensive linemen don't get traded in the draft, and we know that you're a good general manager, but what made it so that we need to know the balance between finding trades that help the team and not making trades? It's like, come on, dude. Jesus Christ. We're only allowed 20 minutes. All right. And that's funny. It's like we need like an hour with Brad Holmes. Hopefully, we get an hour. You'll know right away. I ask my question. They'll be like, "That's it. No more questions." So you may have to cut Taylor Decker. You may have to trade David Montgomery. You may have to make some moves that are cutthroat. Graham Glasgow's gone. I feel like here are some of the moves that are going to happen. And get ready. Do you feel like they can easily be replaced? Alex Anzalone, I think people are comfortable with letting him go. He is, probably going to get a raise somewhere else. And you probably are going to enjoy him for one more week and it's going to be done. Alex Anzalone. Jack Campbell should replace him. You might need a linebacker in the draft. Coverage linebacker, someone skilled, maybe in free agency. Graham Glasgow, thanks for the couple tours of service. His time in Detroit should end. Tate Ratledge is your center, or you go out and get somebody. That's 2. Amik Robertson, I think he can get better money in the open market. We'll see. They do like him in Detroit, but Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw are coming back. David Montgomery, I think, does not want to be somebody that is just going to be second fiddle. He's a competitor. Don't you think that a guy of David Montgomery's caliber would at least say, hey, I can probably go to some other team and make some kind of impact? I don't know. I feel like he reminds me of Mark Ingram, but they don't treat him that way. They don't treat him like a Mark Ingram. And this year, they haven't given him the carries, which is crazy. They haven't given him the carries. And I think the relationship just has to naturally end between Sonic and Knuckles. And you retool. Youthful energy, draft pick. Maybe you draft a running back, third, fourth round. That's 5 players right there. And then natural free agent. DJ Reader's gone. You slide in Tyleek Williams. Same here. X the Trim Reaper. I like talking football. Dolo Dynamite. Sonic always getting stuffed. Yeah, today there was a couple. Oh my God. Let me give a shout out to those still in here commenting. 11BB11, Steve Wilds. Steve, stick with it. There's always trades, free agency. I do think it's a reckoning. And listen, sometimes it is fair. I joke with them, but sometimes take a week off. Still listen to my podcast, but stay off of X, stay off the papers, come into the YouTube show, read a little bit, but give yourself a time to decompress. You're allowed. Maybe even take this week off. Listen, do you really care if the Lions get curb stomped? Take this week off. Enjoy the new year. Take 1 7-day period where you just click on my site a little bit here and there, and then come back when Brad Holmes talks. You'll feel better. A little break sometimes helps. I don't ever need it. Because I go through things super fast. Happy, sad, mad, angry, all in like 10 minutes. 313 Thug Living, Nick, Riley O'Brien, Joe, Nick Semerico, shout out to you. Michael Dietz, your favorite uncle, the keys to wisdom. Always enjoy seeing you here. Love it. Branch Monty for Creed Humphrey. You want me to go? No, I think I only got 3 hours in me still. That's pretty good. I think that's healthy. But we're still growing. 1,300 people almost. Smash that like button. Maybe we go 4 hours. You never know. Anne Marie ER, Solo Dynamite, Blues Dad, DM5 TV. Shout out to all you guys commenting, having a good time in here. Who in the media is dropping 3 hours of content for you to just give you a voice to vent, to say crazy things, to open the subject of ideas that may be a little more controversial? And I believe these things. I'm not saying it's not a hot take. That's the one thing I do want to state here late in the show. I am not doing this for hot takes. I believe this. If there was a realistic trade that could get younger, speedier, I would do it. That's it. And I hope you ever, if you ever think a take is hot, ask me why I'm thinking it. Thank you so much, Alan Shamoon. Habibi, thank you. Canadian $13.99. You're the best, Doc. What do you like about it? Tell me. That means a lot. It means a lot. It's Christmas. It's December 26th. You guys are my present, truly online. We're just talking, being open, exchanging ideas. Some you may like, some you don't like. And we're okay with that. Your guys' ideas are as valid as mine. And you guys understand, I'm willing to say, you know what, Al, it might be crazy to trade Jared Goff. It might be. It might set you back. But I still feel empty as a supporter of the Lions. You feel empty. There's nothing there. You went backwards. First round Washington, not in the playoffs. Doesn't that even out a little bit? 2 playoff wins in 23? Maybe not to some. The euphoria that you felt beating Matthew Stafford. No, Alan, Mr. Shamoon, you're the best. You listen, you invest, you care. Welcome to the community. Inshallah, we get to see more of you. Chicken shawarma. Min Lebanese. Or anywhere. Any style. Just going on Instagram, seeing that there's, different style of shawarma. You guys are the best. And you have to have fries in there, but not the restaurant style fries. You got to have steak fries. All these places are putting those the restaurant kind with the little crisp. You got to use steak fries, original. I think those are more expensive, so they're using the less expensive fries. I know what they're doing. No, you need pure steak fries, cut thick steak fries. See, that means that's the code for I'm being loud. My daughter loved her Christmas. That's right. Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Just want one Lombardi trophy before I rest in peace. One. And I'm willing to do anything to get there. Anything. Right, Blues Dad? No, I mean, come on, because I was one of them. I'm not new money Lions. I'm was dead in the bushes, embarrassed to be a fan. 0-16. And then you win, you go to the NFC Championship, and it's like, yes, now we're going to talk our ish. We've been waiting for 25 years to talk ish. And in the social media era where Blues don't get mad at me, but I did this is when the Vikings were losing and losing to the Lions, they would have a person like me doing a show, and I would pay $5 for them to rip their own team, and they would do it. There was this Vikings guy, and I think I said, $5 super chat was something like, the Vikings will never beat the Lions again. They're going to be kissing our ass for ages. And he read it. And I'm not going to lie, I laughed. I videotaped it off of his stream. There's me entering another fan base's chat, giving $5 to talk shit to them. It was fun, but it blinds you a little bit. It gives you a weak spot to the holes that were there. Like this year, like no, but to me, in the big picture was I felt like the ceiling, which I declared publicly on multiple places, was the ceiling. Remember, the reason why I think you guys like me, and there's 1,300 people here after 3 hours on Christmas, is I said my ceiling this year was a Super Bowl loss. I said that from the beginning. I said 11-7, and the ceiling was get to the Super Bowl and lose. And I still truly believe that, and I always got to preface this when I say this so that people always understand that if you tell me on the other side the Lions eventually win one, that if I know that that's going to happen, having a loss will make the win that much sweeter because you will have felt the sting and the disappointment. The tears will come down your face of losing a Super Bowl. But if you turn around and win it, that sting will make the win that much sweeter. So in 23, 24, we got a little bit high on our own supply. So be it. But this year, luckily, the national media said, hey, wait a minute, guys, like slow down. You're going to regress. You are two coordinators, new offensive line. You're not NFL royalty. Slow down. And that's what happened. And then the injuries came. The effing injuries that keep biting us in the ass. I mean, come on, injury gods, football gods. We're sorry. Sorry for trolling the Vikings. Sorry for trolling the Packers. Sorry. Listen, I'll apologize for Sheila for raising ticket prices. She's sorry. She just wanted to make money. Give us our players back. Give us a chance. Let us be healthy. Let us compete. Stop taking away our players. She's sorry. She just, the second that she got a taste of success, she jacked up the prices and made more money. I'm apologizing on her behalf. She's sorry. She's sorry. Let us have our players next year. And please let Amon-Ra be okay. I don't know. You guys tell me. Is Amon-Ra okay? I'm not on X checking the national media. Please be okay, Amon-Ra St. Brown. But how to fix the Lions next year? Our final 10 minutes here. You got to get younger. You got to get younger, hungrier. Yeah, your favorite uncle, 4 in a row. Isn't that wild? You got to first move on from certain older players and get younger. The offensive line, I don't know. Do I trust Giovanni Manu? I mean, Taylor Decker battled injury. Jared Goff didn't got it's a retool. Steve, it's a retool. I don't know if it's a rebuild. Do you go Giovanni Manu at left tackle? Do you just draft one, a free agent? Maybe you go free agent left tackle. And you go Tate Ratledge at center, and you just hope that works. Free agent, Christian Mahogany, Tate Ratledge, Miles Frazier, Penei Sewell. You have Jahmyr Gibbs, but you need a true younger running back. You hope that Tyleik Williams learned from DJ Reader. You move on from Reader and Alex Anzalone. And you got to find cornerbacks that can cover. And I don't think that it's Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. I think that you got to get vets or draft more. Reek money. Y'all lost to the Vikings. Ha, 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 ha. We'll give it to you. And also, too, here, we take our lumps. We don't just hide. We come on the air and we say we lost to the Vikings twice. And are about to get probably curb stomped by the Bears. One BB. Remember your comment. I probably said some things about the Bears. Was it about Caleb? Oh man. Let me own this. Of course it was gonna happen. You remember the video 1-1 BB when Caleb was throwing the football into the drills and he missed them all? We played that up for like 5 days straight. He can't throw. He's inaccurate. He's not a leader. What the hell's this? And every camp interception that he threw, we may have highlighted it. And for that, I ain't sorry. F the Bears. Go home. Enjoy your first round playoff loss. You guys are overrated. What? You think I'm going to kiss your ass? No, in all seriousness, you did the right thing. I mean, of course, you saw that the Bears' history sucks, so you went to Detroit to find the secret sauce, which is you're supposed to do. Michael Dietz, good night, Doc. From one Polak to a Habibi, good night. Man, potato or kraut pierogies before you get out of here? Me, both. But if you give me one, potato, cheese potato, the ones from the market there at 17 and Mound, they're great. The big, thick circle ones. Starts with an S. It's the place that, oh my God, they're really good. My wife got them. Schrodex pierogies. I need to work out. We had some Schrodex. And what do we say? So you now know that I'm married to a Polish woman. We did the opłatek. So from one Middle Eastern man who dates and married a Polish woman, many blessings to you if you had the opłatek. You'll know what I'm saying. Opłatek to you, Michael Dietz. And I know what it means, but I'm not so eloquent at this time of night to explain it. Many blessings and a great 2026 to you and your family. Polka polka. Yeah, pierogies are awesome. Hell yeah, they are. No. I can rage bait like the best of the Polish peoples. They mad. Yeah, Bears fans are good. Lions forever. Have a great New Year, Doc. Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for our platform. So yeah, Lions fans got a little high on their britches. It was hard to see not making the playoffs. I could have seen another first round catastrophe with everything going on, but my God, AG's burner with all the injuries. Have you ever thought of becoming the team doc? No, I'm not a medical doctor. I am a mental health professional. Right? Maybe, yeah, that would be kind of funny. The first day, AG, yeah, it'll be the funniest thing ever. The first day I get hired with the Lions, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to play. Did you say this on the internet? Did you say that Brad Holmes is this? They're going to be like, did you say Sheila was the empress of greed and just quickly took on? Did you say this about Rod? Like they would air all that stuff on the interview and be like, how are we going to hire you? Did you write that we were selling the team as a rumor off of a podcast? We're like, yeah. No, I think the words that have been expressed via myself have been might be used in a way that would be like, we may not we may not hire. They're not hire me. Mishanuga. Go out with the Spartan big head. All right, I'll do that. No doubt. Spartan big head, huh? Deal. $9.99. Hopefully it was a good Christmas for you. Spartan big head. JX6E1P. Who would have thought we'd miss Kevin Zeitler so much? Thank you for the super chat. All right, 3 minutes left. Boom. Super fan, we are the rumors of our demise have been greatly exaggerated. We pinched someone from Alabama. Shout out to Mishanuga. Get your last questions in. 5 minutes to go. Charles Miller, thank you for all that listened. It's Christmas. And yes, I got a lot of Michigan State stuff. A lot. Michigan State wallet, cups. Thank you for listening, all 1,300 of you. Smash the like button for me. Bam, bam. Don't do it. What? You didn't seek our advice. Team Dr. Doc says, whoa, hold on a minute. She better be a special lady. She must be. If you decided that was a thing to do, you still got time. In future chats, we'll lay it out. Hopefully this is your first experience. We must have an epic bachelor party. This is the key to a long, healthy marriage. You must establish the rules of the bachelor party. Congratulations. Bam, bam. From the Detroit Lions on SI family. Many, many blessings. We kid. So if the missus hears this, be like, oh, God. Marriage is beautiful and harmonious, and we will give you keys. As long as there's forgiveness and happiness, it'll be all good. Congratulations. Bam, bam, my man. Next time we'll talk about how you did it and all that stuff. Give you a chance to share how you did it all. Congratulations. Mishanuga says, I saved Christmas, bro. That's right. Hopefully you guys smiled a little bit, laughed a little bit, and realize that tomorrow's another day. We talked about some stuff. Goff, Campbell, our reactions, what the hell happened. It's Stephen V. Will you please grill the F out of Brad and get some accountability? That will be the effort. Well, to ask questions. I don't think I'm going to be allowed to grill them because there's going to be 40 people in the room. So I got to make my question count. So, Steven, we had a little joke that I got to speak up a little bit, but yeah, I think that he will be asked the question. But what, I guess to frame it, what does a media member need to ask Brad in a way that he will discuss something that would make you feel like he's talking about accountability? He's going to be, because these things, I feel like, he's already prepping now for the questions. He already knows the questions. It'll be, why didn't you be more aggressive at the trade deadline? Well, he'll be like, well, it's a little bit tough. Like we have to give up some assets and they have to accept it. So he'll have answers. He'll do a lot of GM speak. He's good at that. But I do think that the question mark is the biggest thing that I think needs to be brought up and discussed. And remember too, guys, Steven, this will be the first spoken chance he gets. We will address this again at the combine. He won't not face what happened last year in future talks. We will not forget. So the question has to be, do you feel like you have to take a more comprehensive approach in free agency and at the deadline to push faster for a Super Bowl? Why did you regress? Those are things that we have to ask. And do you understand? The problem is, he'll do what the Slappies do. He's going to say, what do you mean opposite of Aiden? Our guy opposite of Aiden got 11 sacks. So we have to phrase it in a way where, hey, against good opponents, your team didn't deliver. And he should say, I think the first words out of his mouth will be, our offensive line was obviously something that we didn't take care of to the degree that made everything okay. I do think there'll be accountability. I think he knows that. But you're right. Part of me wants to be like, so Brad, I know we're good and I know we're good, but the team regressed. So it actually wasn't good. I hope that it gives you guys some answers, but I wish it would be one-on-one, but it won't be. So I'll get my question. He'll give a 2-minute answer and then 40 other people are going to start talking. That's the only disadvantage of a lot of media. There's going to be 30 people there. Literally. Each newspaper is going to bring 4 guys and each television station is going to bring 3 people. So I hope the chance to get to talk will be there. But don't worry, Steven. If it doesn't happen at the season ender, we got the combine, we got owners meetings. We got some time. Thank you for everybody that gave super chats, that want to see me wear the big heads, that leave super chats. Every single person that still remains here, 1,300 people starting from the 200 when we started 3 hours ago. That means a lot. That means you guys are smashing the like button. You're willing to be entertained. You're listening, and across 2 platforms, X and YouTube, you're willing to be entertained on a Christmas evening, and that means a lot to me. And I feel better too. Like I said, I go through the range of emotions just like you guys. So thank you for that. This is and has been the Lone Wolves podcast. Today, at the end, we talked about the season ending in a disaster. Why did the Lions lose this game? Brosmer less than 50 yards passing. How do we fix the Lions? Are you willing to be, moving on from Goff, Campbell, Holmes? Everything was on the table. We talked about everything, and we'll talk about each one of these things deeper, more intently. It's just the beginning. This was just our first reaction. Might come back tomorrow, but no doubt the latest will be Saturday, and we'll talk again. This podcast is made possible thanks to OnSI, the great partner that we work with. They let us be us. We get to do our thing. And again, all you got to do is read the scroll. That's how you find us. That's when you know when the shows are. Or hit the notification bell. When we go live, you find us. One last shout out to everybody in here, man. Thank you humbly for listening. Your favorite uncle, Cyber Trader, Lil C Pillow, Jay. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hopefully Hopefully this was a little bit of fun in your evening. Stacks, TJ Woo-Wit, 187, your favorite uncle, Mishanuga, X the Trim Reaper, Cyber Trader, it's Stephen V. Accountability is key. 515 Earl. Get you highlighted here. We have 1 year of mandatory Goff left, and we have no replacement in sight. Is it a must to get his replacement in-house? I think so. Yeah. I will start my search. We are QB hunting. Ronald Crosby. Shout out to you. Sure did. Let me just go through and just highlight some of you. Go green, baby. And the other thing, okay. Congrats. Yeah, it's starting to look that way. Perfect ending. Robert Novotny, 4588, maybe next year. The old saying goes, always next season. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Thankfully, I think you guys appreciate somebody that's willing to talk for 3 hours after a disappointing loss. You get your platform, and doesn't end there. If you like what you've heard, listen, subscribe, interact, hit the comments, anything that I've said. If my trade ideas are wild, put together a trade for Goff. Sometimes you have to make bold corrections. What did Dan Campbell say to the reporters? We have to make big decisions. Anceloni, Reeder, Goff, they got to make decisions. The future of the organization hangs in the balance. And Lions on SI, Detroit Sports Podcast will be there for the ride. And you know we will ask the questions you guys want. We'll figure it out. Let's talk soon. Bye-bye, everybody.